Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
He's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Suelio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because of the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Suelio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Wait a race, buddy, wait a race.
Tonight, from the streets of Long Beach, SCEL makes its triumphant return after a month break with only 2 races left in the season. Presented to you by SimRacingNation.com. Well, you found us here on V-Speed. Morgan Cook alongside Angel Melton up in the booth, making the V-Speed debut. Camera spotted by the great Dougie Beard. Well, Angel, we got quite a show on tap tonight. Long Beach in a multi-class event. This is chaos waiting to happen.
Yes, it is. The problem with this track is it's so tight. And let's take a look down through this track map, and let's imagine we're in the GT4 cars. We're coming down the turn. Going into turn 1 is our hardest braking zone. We're going to then go down through that little bit of the fountain section. That's going to be a hard point because these cars don't want to turn, especially the Mustang. Mustang's one of the hardest ones to turn. Then you're coming down through turns 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. And then you get to that straightaway on the back. You're coming down into the hairpin, which is where we're going to have the most crucial turn, turn 11. Coming down through that turn, we're going to get to a minimum speed of around 20 miles an hour. And then back onto the straightaway where we reach a maximum speed of around 100.
It's going to be very difficult for drivers to maintain and manage this facility all night long. Let's have a quick look at the schedule, where we've been and where we are headed. We've already been to Daytona, Watkins Glen, north of the border in Mosport, Road America, Sebring, and now we land in SoCal for Long Beach. Next stop, the Southeast, Road Atlanta, May 1st. That is going to wrap up our season in about a month's time, and you do not want to miss that one or tonight. Don't go anywhere. Still stay here, watch the race with us, but just so you know what is coming in the future. Let's have a look at the points. Speaking of where we've been, your GT4 Pro, led by Thonk Esports, Motorsports, SimSports Racing, powered by Bud. Their Bud entry 108 on the points tally. Texas Speed Sim Blue with 105 right behind them. Weenie Hut by Lady Apex Racing Club. They're a ways back with 80, tied with WIP Racing. A little bit of work to do here for the next couple weeks to be able to catch up to those top 2 who have really put on a show all season long. The AM class, Big Promble, with a slim lead over Breakfast Racing Club and Eclipse Solar, which are right on the tail. Even Rockefeller Racing Purple has a shot at it, only 10 points back with a couple races to go. Definitely in the running for it. The wrong stuff has been flat out the right stuff this season. They have dominated most of these races. Under GT Turtles, Smooth Operators fighting for the podium. Last but not least, the 86s. Steady State and Caboose Crew have run well all season. Baltimore is a little ways back. Who is going to be able to pull the championship out from this series as well as we head to Long Beach? Qualifying.
I wanted to mention.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I apologize for interrupting here, but I wanted to mention one thing about those GR86 cars. They're going to be the fun ones to watch here. So if you're sticking around to watch this whole broadcast, definitely look out for when we're talking about the 86, because those cars don't turn.
Now it's time for the grid. Drivers have finished their qualifying times. Here is how it went. Avery Miller, that will be SRN Esports Black taking the pole here. WIP Racing will start in the 2nd spot. Alpha Trout Challenge in 3rd. Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue in the 4th spot. Thonk Esports, SimSports, Motorsports by Bud will start in 5th. And E-Brake Boys will roll off in the 6th position. Starting 7th tonight, first of the AM class, Eclipse Racing Solar will take that position. Rockefeller Racing Purple alongside in the 8th spot. 9th for SRN Esports Gold. That's Kyle Bassett behind the wheel of that one. Texas Speed Sim Racing White with Tyler Thomas will round out your top 10. Royalty Racing at 11th in the 116. Weenie Hut by Lady Apex Racing Club will start in the 12th spot. And to round out your grid in the GT4 class, 13th will be Beaver Moose Racing. 14th, Big Promble Motorsports with Stephen Kelly behind the wheel. Breakfast Racing Club will start in 15th spot. Gear 5 in 16th. And Davis Motorsports not take a time. They will start shotgun on the field back in 17th and 31st overall in this one. Take it away, Angel.
Going through the BMW M2 grid, we have Damian Mitchell in the 227 starting on the pole position for the BMW class. We have Jason Landry in the 205 starting right beside him on his outside. Michael Brooks will be starting in the 3rd position, as well as Patrick Mason in the 4th beside him. Justin Bragan in 5th, and Maxwell Waite in 6th. Then we have James Cochrane in 7th, starting in the 222 car. And then last but not least, we have Joe Nagy in the 237, starting in 8th.
And as cars starting to get rolling here, we'll get to the GR86s. Small class, only 6 cars. We're going to have Steady State leading the way here with Nick Beta behind the wheel. Ballymore will start in the 2nd spot. That is with John O'Donnell. Team BRZ in 3rd, Razor Racing in 4th, Hale Satin in the 5th spot, and SCEL Tigom 1 will roll off shotgun on that grid in the 6th position, 30th overall. Let's get down trackside. See these cars already in motion as we start our first, I think we have half a pace lap here tonight.
One of the interesting things about this grid is we're going to be going through that hairpin before we can actually start. So if I've heard correctly from race control here, we're going to have to kind of go almost single file through that hairpin. We have to line back up.
And we're hitting that hairpin right now. Looks like we are not single file. Definitely too wide there.
Well, seems like somebody messed up a little bit there.
Did not get the memo. We are going green here.
Yes, we are.
Green flag
is
in
off
hand.
onto the car, and we are green. Hey, we're coming through here, and these GR86, I've noticed this, in my opinion, BMW is such a good benchmark to look for, and it seems like we have some backup.
Already issues here. With the start, a few drivers caught up with issues, as the 86s. Did not get turned. As you mentioned, they don't turn very well. They didn't turn their slow speeds there. Issues in the hairpin to roll it off here. Oh, oh my goodness, we got cars wrecked all over the place.
Yeah, this is going to be a chaotic race, and we're already seeing it, and we're only just a few minutes into it. 2 hours.
Yeah, White took a big hit. That's Texas Speed Sim. White took a massive lick. Solar's still falling back. They're stuck.
Yeah. This is going to be the problem. We have a competition yellow, and we aren't even... I mean, even in these past races here, you'll notice people just kind of trying to figure out the track before they're on yellow. They're just going all at it right now.
Yeah, quick look at the race analysis, as you just mentioned. 2 hour, 40-minute race here. The 3 classes, as always. 2 faster pairs that comp yellow at the 65th minute. Fixed setup for all of these drivers. Now you're caught up, as we are about a minute and a half into this one, and we're already quite shaken up throughout the field.
Yes, and that Mustang right there, the SRM Mustang, is kind of at a good advantage right now, because coming into this turn, these Mustangs have really good straight line speed, but they don't seem to be as good at cornering. So coming down that straight, if he has a good advantage, it's going to help him.
See the rest of the GT4 class kind of follow in tow here, starting to mix it up with some of the M2s eventually. They're not quite here yet. Croc is the first of those. There's Croc right there.
And these cars are good-looking cars. Whoever made these themes actually did some really good work here.
Under fire is Croc through the fountain section.
Coming down through here, it's going to be hard to make a pass coming into that next turn. He's going to have to try to get up on his rear bumper coming through here, because if you can make a pass, you can go to the inside and try to take him there.
Not quite enough forward momentum to be able to make that happen. Probably not looking to the inside in this next section either. That would be a bit of a dangerous maneuver, considering the wall's right there. The exit comes up pretty quick. Oh, big slide for Croc. That is going to give an opportunity to the Sunday GT Turtles. Jason Landry to get alongside. How a little crossover action from the black, yellow, and green machine.
He was in the unpreferred position. There was nothing much he could do there, because coming into that turn, you have to be in the preferred position to get enough momentum.
I thought he might try and chop the exit a little bit. So, oh, Croc missed the corner.
entirely missed that corner. And it seems like Jason Landry took that position.
He did. So did Patrick Mason. How about Michael Brooks? The wrong stuff. Oh, there goes. That's Texas Speed Sim White still struggling to get around this racetrack with the damaged car.
They were one of the first incidents we saw after the green flag. And we're only 4 minutes in. This is almost about 4 minutes in. This is going to be an interesting race to watch to see. It's not going to be more of a race of speed. It's going to be a race of survival. Who can make it to the end with their car still having all four wheels on it?
Yeah, I would agree that it's going to be a very difficult race to keep the fenders on. You already see the leader in the GR86s with the nose bashed in. Team BRZ. Oh, a couple drivers having a little how do you do Ballymore in steady state, showing some displeasure through the hairpin section.
Those GR86s, like I mentioned before, they do not turn. And that hairpin is where we're going to see most of the action for these cars.
I see a little bit of action to turn one here. We're still side by side down the straightaway. Who is going to lift? Steady State's going to lift. Get back in line and set it up. Or, oh, he almost missed the corner. I thought for sure we just saw Ballymore catch the wall. They, in fact, did not make it that section. They will retain second.
And we got a new fastest lap coming from SRN Esports Black, that 95 car, setting some good pace so far.
And we are
1 second ahead of the leader.
We are about to start lapping cars here. We just saw the 86s roll through the fountain section. I think we're going to see them at the end of the straightaway. Yep, there they are. We're getting awfully close to lap traffic, and we are only, as you mentioned, about 5 minutes into this one.
Yeah, and the thing is with these cars, it's not as much about straight line speed. I mean, looking at, for example, a Virginia International, these cars kind of stay a little bit better off because there's not as many tight corners. But those GT4s corner so much better than the M2 or the GR86.
Pair of Porsches battle it out here. Rockefeller Racing Purple getting around Break Fast Club Racing. That would be the battle for the 12th spot in class and overall.
I mean, these GT4 cars, looking at them, there's a few with some dents in them and a little bit of damage.
Oh,
almost.
Hale.
Oh, and the GR86.
Yeah, Hale Satin had a bit of a moment there.
And it looks like his bumper's half hanging off. We were talking about...
Oh, there's a car. That's Steady State's.
Steady
State's around. We'll see. Okay, that's, I think, where it came from. What happened to Steady State?
It could be a position of just losing control, or...
Oh, yeah, no, they got some help. They got a little bit of help there.
Yeah, it's hard to lose control in the GR86 because they're too tight. They just don't turn. They don't really lose control.
And we're going to see it here, I believe, that somebody missed a corner somewhere. Yeah, a little overshoot of the corner there, caught the wall, and Hale Satin just followed them right in. They both got pretty heavy damage out of that.
And we are already lapping cars, and the GT4 field is working through these GR86s.
Avery Miller trying to put a gap on WIP Racing. That's Francois Schenk. Gap's 2 seconds at the moment. Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue. Follow them.
These lap cars are going to be what's going to make the difference for this GT4 class. They're so much quicker. And it's kind of similar to a Bristol race for NASCAR. If you're a big oval fan, I am. I'm a fan of all racing. So if you were to look at that, it's kind of like if you catch lap traffic in the wrong turn with these GT4 cars, it's going to slow you down so much that a car, maybe even 2 seconds back, can reach you, catch up.
Momentum, very, very important in most forms of racing. This one, no different, especially with how slow most of these cars are. Just not able to have that torque and acceleration. You really need momentum to be able to be competitive and fast in these series.
Yes, and GR86 is in the...
Ballymore had issues. I think that was the leader of class, BRZ, who is still leading, mind you.
Yeah, that's the question, is how far off are the rest of these cars? Looking at turn 1 and 2, we're almost 3 seconds ahead of the rest.
And this was into 1. Not sure what happened to our class leader. Went into the corner and it just simply didn't turn. Goes into the outside wall.
Not too much damage. That was a lot hit compared to what it could have been.
Yeah, they recognized right away they had an issue and bailed on it, versus just sailing it off into the corner and hoping for the best. That usually doesn't work out very well, but Razor Racing having a good run here in this one, running second.
Looks like it's going to be a battle between the top three, most likely. Looking at just the distance between the rest of them. You have the leader, then about a half second back you have Razor Racing. Then about 4.5 seconds back you have SCEL TGO M1. And then there's another car, the next car is about 48 seconds.
This is the most difficult corner to get through in these cars. It's just, we've mentioned it a bunch of times. Oh, we already started pitting here.
That was the car that had some damage too. Maybe just going into repair and fill up.
Your class leader.
Looking at the GT4 class, it looks like there's some little bit of closeness between that WIP Racing and Texas Sim Racing Blue. They're a little bit on each other there.
Yeah, Texas Speed Blue. They've been fast all season long, had an opportunity to win multiple races. Haven't quite pulled those wins out of the bag, but they have been up at the front of the field basically the entire season. And there's no different here tonight, running P3 at the moment, trying to put that pressure on WIP Racing. While they all drive away from the E-Brake boys.
Yes, and it looks like, I don't know if that's black traffic or what that is. It looks like some other cars.
Oh, big issues with the wrong stuff. Meatball flag for one of the fastest cars all season. What happened here? They were racing with the turtles.
This looks like a case of neither one of them willing to yield, and it's just going to cause some extra.
Yeah, just overdrove one, knocked down the tire barrier.
And that rejoin kind of messed up some momentum for the other class.
Yeah, heavy damage on that car. Will not turn. Michael Brooks back to, I think, the lowest spot this team has been all season, in 8th.
Yes, and that's those. Even with going a lap down, that M2 can still catch up and, get at least some back to where he can possibly, with the competition yellow, get a little bit easier of a chance to catch up, But that competition yellow is not going to matter as much when everybody has so much damage, it's almost useless.
Yeah, the 2 faster pairs will certainly help. The track position, of course, is a big factor.
2 faster pairs. The faster pairs are going to make the biggest difference in this race. Because if you use them all early when it gets to the end, and it's fast now. We get to 40 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, even 10. People are going to be running so quick, they're going to be pushing their cars. Those faster pairs might come in handy then.
Yeah, certainly could be the factor. Working through a little bit of slower traffic. Alpha Trout, one of the Thonk teams. That would be the Bud entry. Work through some slower traffic.
So, of course, that is the 42 car, which is... Where is that 42 car? It looks... Is that a patch for position?
Zachary Leibel. This is for 5th overall.
Yes, that is a battle I didn't see coming, I'm going to be honest. But some of these cars the GT4s seem to be catching each other a little bit more now. And we're a little bit farther in.
And these two have been close all season long. Of course, they have similar-esque paint schemes with the scales, if you will. I'm not really sure what to call Thonk's paint scheme, but we're going to go with scales. And then, of course, Alpha Trout being fish scales, similar to each other in that regard.
Well, it seems like they're connected, so maybe the closeness of their paint schemes is it's going to be harder for us, but it's entertaining to see how close those 2 cars are the same paint.
And Rockefeller Racing Purple trying to chase down Beaver Moose.
It does look like it, and that Porsche, that 129, is that the highest of the AM?
The AM leader right now, Royalty Racing, in the 9th spot.
I apologize. I looked at that wrong, but that AM leader is ahead of, I think, a few of the pro leaders.
Beaver Moose and Texas Speed White, of course, with the heavy damage early. Those are the drivers currently behind your AM leader.
And that's a good showing for an AM driver, is to get ahead of some of these pro drivers and kind of contend a little bit more for your position, because, you know, it just shows well. It shows off. It shows that you could belong in different places.
This is certainly going to be a survival race, a drive within your skill set race. This is not necessarily a go out there and give me, you know, the fastest laps you possibly can. You don't need to go out here and run 25.5s all night, because it's just not going to happen. Just don't wreck the race car, and you're probably going to end up with a good finish. Kind of reminds me of a 24-hour race at Spa, right, where you can go out there and you can turn down some really, really fast laps, or just don't hit anything, and you'll probably get the same finish, whether you're lightning quick or whether you just don't make mistakes, you know. So don't hit anything, you'll probably be in good shape tonight, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I get 100% what you're saying, but one of those things is if you are running these fast laps, all it takes is one brake lockup,
right,
and you're using a fast repair, or you're sitting there for longer repairs if you're out of fast repairs. So it's like these fast laps are good to get some distance, like especially with that 95 SRM black car. I'm not going to be, if it was me, I would not be turning quick laps. I'm just going to try to hold on and run as slow as I can to keep my car going.
Yeah, with the 3-second lead that they have now, 3.5-second lead for Avery Miller and co., I would really just be trying to cut through traffic, don't lose a ton of time, get stuck behind somebody, but I wouldn't really push it at all. No chances need to be taken here. You're already the fastest car here. Keep it on the racetrack, don't hit anything, you'll be in good shape. At least until we get to the competition yellow, and then we can start talking about taking chances, but we're still 50 minutes away from that. That's a 5-0 until we get to that point in the race.
It looks like we're again working through some lap traffic here. Those GR86s are going to be quite a few laps down by the end of this race.
Yeah, they are well slower, about 8 seconds slower than your leader last time by. Fast lap in the GT4s was a 125.7. Leader of the 86 is ran a 133.9, so that's a lot of pace difference in those cars.
And when you're that GT4 leader and you're catching these GR86s, that difference isn't made up on the straights as much as it is these corners. So you catch them at that worst spot, like in the middle of the fountain section, you're going to lose a ton of time.
Right, absolutely right about that. Battle for the lead in the M2s. Sunday GT Turtles trying to hold off Croc.
Looks like, ooh, the GR86 came a little bit in the way, and he's just going to try to get around it. Hopefully, no accident. No accident.
Yeah, just a bit of a tough spot there for the 409. That's SCEL T-GOM 1. Edward Peltz not doing anything wrong there, running second in class. Just, again, your slower car caught in kind of a weird spot. You didn't do anything to impede intentionally, just, you know, sometimes existing causing other drivers headaches, I think is probably the kindest way to put that, but that's just racing sometimes. As these two
the thing is,
have a bit of clean track ahead of them now.
Yeah, and the thing is, multi-class racing, it's not the slower car's responsibility to get out of the way.
You're right.
It's the faster car's responsibility to pass clean.
Oh, middle of the pack racing, little side swiping there.
That's going to be some contact there, and ooh, somebody's probably not happy out of that exchange.
Yeah, we'll go back here. Check that out again. It's into the hairpin section.
Ooh, bump.
We're going to see it into this section here. Yeah, North Sports just did not turn the corner. That car just didn't rotate. And unfortunately, it was like a parking lot traffic jam sort of situation as we'll watch them into one. I don't think anything happened here, but although the middle of the pack racing is 6 seconds off the pace, so something very well may have happened.
One of those cars is not happy with the other. That green car, I do not see what number it is. It's definitely not going to be happy after that exchange.
Oh, they missed the corner. That's what happened in the middle of the pack racing. The green car you're talking about. Yeah,
and this track, like you mentioned before, is so momentum-based. if you get off track battling, it's so hard to get back in that momentum, that flow state.
So true. Bit of an issue here for the 157. They were well off the pace last time by. This is Davis Motorsports, the 157 in the GT4s, the AM class. They maybe have an issue in the hairpin. Not that I see. Potentially earlier in the lap. I don't see any damage on this car, so clearly not all that bad of an issue.
It may not be damage, and it's not always damage to have that slow pace, like we were talking about right before that.
Right.
It's that flow state. You get messed out of it, you get pushed out of it. Oh, there's a car that hit the wall just a second ago on mine.
That's Rockefeller Green.
Yeah, and that was a decent little tap. Looks like they're missing the front bumper.
They lost the nose. This is right behind Steady State. We just saw this team. Again, into the hairpin, same sort of situation. Set up a pass, maybe caught the curb under braking, and they hit the wall pretty good. See that?
Yeah, I mean, that front bumper's hanging off. You can't do anything. These cars, again, they're not. That arrow is so important for these cornering downforce. And if you mess up that arrow, it's going to hurt you.
Break Fast Racing Club with a slow lap, although, again, no damage, probably just lap traffic. Eclipse Solar. Again, no scrapes on that car. They're trying to rebound from a rough start. Remember, they were sideways behind the fountain. Going to get rejoined.
There's cars we've seen sideways, though, so they're not alone in that situation. It's going to be a survival of the fittest, but also how well can you make up these positions after you make a mistake? Because everyone in this race is more than likely going to make a mistake in this one.
Yes, strategy is going to be important once we get down to the competition yellow of when do you choose to pit fuel, tires? Can you leapfrog someone on strategy? Will the strategy hold? These are all questions you're going to have to ask yourself. And I'd almost wonder if you could maybe go a little further on fuel here than other tracks you've been to this season, based on, one, the track length being fairly short, and two, it being a fairly slow racetrack, probably not a ton of fuel burn. I'd be curious if you could maybe save here better than other racetracks because of how, deep these braking zones are and how long you're on the throttle versus off the throttle. This could be interesting for fuel mileage later in the race.
And one of the things if you've ever watched the IndyCar races here, Indy and IMSA races here, and one of the biggest things about their races here is that the overcut tends to work much better than the undercut because it's just so hard to pass.
Traffic, yeah.
And look at this. Is this a battle? What car is this?
This is We're on Royalty Racing here. This is for 9th. They're trying to get the 8th spot from Weenie Hut. This is Big Prombel with an issue behind them. Big Prombel, I think, just went around, potentially.
Let's take a look back at that if we can, and it's either
lost,
that or it's an incident.
They lost some spots regardless. They lost about, they definitely had an incident. They lost a good number of spots here and not a lot of time. They catch the wall on entry to 1. They sure did.
Oh, that's a decent hit.
They hit it a ton. Oh, yeah, that left front's not supposed to, right supposed to point that way.
No, and if it's pointing in a different direction, you're not going to have good turn.
That's a bad sign. Yeah, Big Prombel's got big problems.
Yeah, that is for
BMW.
Sure.
Oh, man. Back to 12th. They were up in the top 6.
I think everybody's going to use at least one faster car in this race. But the question is are you going to have to repair without one?
That is a bold claim, but I guess we'll find out. Hard to say one way or the other. Royalty Racing continues to lead in the AM class for the GT4s. They are in the 9th spot. Weenie Hut Racing right in front of them. Behind them, Rockefeller Purple, keeping them honest from about 2.5 seconds back.
Yeah, these.
They missed the corner.
A little bit of a mistake.
Make it 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, and the thing is, you've made a mistake in the slower class. Not the slower class, actually, I apologize. That is another BMW. Wrong BMW. If they can catch you, like a different car can catch you that much in that corner, you were in another contact with that wall.
Well, you messed up when you have to change your corner mid-corner to not hit something. You've made a mistake at that point in time, but usually you aren't able to make the change. And we got big issues here. We got M2s turning GT4s. That's not going to go over well. Oh my goodness, Whip is in a horrible. That was third overall in a horrible spot right now.
Yeah, that might get some looked over a little bit there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to recap that one. Something happened there. We can go back a little bit further. It clearly happened beforehand. So this is WIP Racing trying to pass a host of M2s.
A swarm of bees.
Yeah, something like that. Going around Smooth Operators as Weenie Hut is on pit road. Work around Smooth Operators, that's one. They're going to go around North Sport. Oh, and then there was an issue with the leader in this group. A little bit of contact there. And I don't know. Oh, they just really did not like that. And then is that Texas Speed Sim White is also hanging out there. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't really know what happened there with. I don't know who that was. That was Los Locos. I don't really know why they did that. But I'm not behind the wheel, so I'm just up here in the booth. But yeah, that was an interesting situation to say the least.
Yeah, that's a slower class doing that.
Right.
They can't make that corner quicker, so that's probably something that I'd say either after this race. I don't know if they have mid-race race control here, but if they have to look, they're going to have to look into that a little bit.
And that was curious to, I mean, like they got a tap from WIP Racing. I saw that, and I think they're trying to give a tap back potentially, but to have that happen was curious to say the least. But either way, we're in pit stop time. E-brake boys on the pit lane. Weenie Hut Racing has already left. I think we're underway here for the GT4 stops.
It looks like we're getting around 17 laps before we're hitting this time. With that's around the range that most of the GT4 class is. So we're going to get around about a time of 25-ish minutes before we pit. At least looking at this before the competition yellow, that's a good roundabout.
I wonder if they're short pitting. That seems light to only be able to go 25 minutes on fuel.
I bet they are, but my question is why? Because the overcut tends to work best here. There's some sort of strategy game.
Yeah, maybe if they pit here, they figure they can make it to the competition yellow and just regain track position, potentially, versus running it all the way out and having to short pit or something like that. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what it looks like, because you do mention it's hard to pass here. But either way, that's a strategy they took.
It's going to be a game won and lost on pit road for position. And survival. But mainly pit road. If you survive, it's pit road that's going to make the difference.
Got a lot of things to worry about here this evening.
Survival is the biggest thing. Because, I mean, we've already seen how many cars have gone around.
We need a car to finish.
I know we keep talking. Yeah, we need at least one car to finish this race. One at least.
Alpha Trout in fourth, trying to chase down Funk after the WIP spin. This would be for a podium position.
It's going to be something okay, in my opinion, I'm in this car. If I'm in this car, I'm going to have to look at it from a position of... It's a podium position, but how long do we have left?
Oh, many, many moons left. This is by no means necessarily racing for the podium, but at this particular moment, saying I was running third half an hour into this race, still a pretty good feeling to say you were up there.
Yeah, it might build some motivation.
Yeah, no one's paying points yet. We're definitely a couple hours from paying any points, but still, it's running up in the top 5 at any point in a race still makes you feel good when it's under a stretch situation. Esports Black, meatball flag. Leader knocked the nose off of it.
Heavy damage to that car.
Was this in the hairpin, perchance? I think it was. Should be able to see that car. Here it comes. And, oh, they hit the curb. Turn it into the wall.
Yeah,
big time damage.
Bumper's halfway across the track.
Yeah, big time damage.
It's a major problem, and that meatball flag is not a good sign, because we've seen quite a few already.
This will have to change their strategy potentially, I guess we don't know what it was, but if they were going long, they're not anymore.
Oh, you can't do much without a bumper.
More so the meatball flag, they have to pit within 3 laps or else they get the DQ. Oh, we got a parking lot out of the hairpin.
I was about to say that because that was, I don't know what happened.
Bit of a swap meet down there. One of those infamous Long Beach swap meets.
I don't quite know. I mean, I mean, if it's a swarm of cars coming into here, there's a problem. Oh, and it's another M2 spinning.
I don't really know why Breakfast Racing Club was just so slow in the center is what it looked like. I mean, we'll look at it again from their rear view, but I feel like they were just like extra cautious in the hairpin, and it cost them.
I'm wondering also if these M2s might be taking that hairpin quicker than the GT4, and it may just be one corner they're actually quicker. That's causing such a mistake because these M2s think they can go all the way in and the GT4 can't.
Yeah, that was just a weird kind of situation. I would expect that Porsche to take the corner tighter than that, but of course it didn't, and we see the damage and the spin as a result. Alpha Trout still trying to chase down Thok. This is again for the 3rd spot as we close in on 2 hours remaining and 30 minutes into this race. Already been chaotic, Angel. A lot of incidents for drivers all over the racetrack.
I mean, I'm taking a look back, and it does really and truly look like these M2s are taking that hairpin quicker. They're able to take it around 25 to 30 when I was noticing the GT4 cars were taking it about 20 to 25.
Well, if that's the case, you got to be careful all race long to not put themselves in a bad spot. It's almost like when you're racing the iRacing special events and you're in the GT3 class and you're racing against an LMP or GTP, apologies, and you dive it into the corner because you brake so well that you can almost outbrake the fastest class, but as soon as they even think about the throttle pedal, they gap you. So that those GT3s are much faster into the corner because of the better brakes, but they're so slow rolling the center and exit. That's where all the crashes happen, is when those guys get together because of the speed differences.
And I mean, you don't expect to be a lower class or like a less speed class to be running quicker than the highest class.
But these things happen sometimes. Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue up to the lead here. Now you can give both Thok and Alpha Trout a podium spot.
Yeah, and I mean, look at, we got another car around. That's another one for them. I think they had one earlier.
Chasing down Esports Gold, and I don't think they got there. Trying to give them a little how do you do. Crossover. Oh, bad entry angle.
Oh, that's ooh, they got really close.
They did a great job not hitting anything. That could have been a lot worse than that, that's for sure.
I mean, especially considering, if I'm correct, that car did have some damage before. They don't want to use more faster cars than they already have.
Right, they haven't used one yet, but they certainly could have with a little bit of damage on the left front. Nothing major. You can see the scrapes there as we work down a bunch of lap traffic.
It's interesting to me. I mean, I'm taking my time. I'm looking at the speeds, but these M2s are quicker in certain sections than the GT4s, which is odd.
A little nimbler with the way this car behaves.
There's something to look out for at the minimum.
Yeah, traffic management going to be vital today, as we've already seen a few drivers get caught up and tangled with the M2s.
Yeah, especially in that hairpin, we've seen a few of those.
And then we've seen the 86s not be able to turn. They've had issues in the hairpin and other sections, so just got to be careful all the way around the racetrack, making sure you know who you're racing with.
Yes, and does it look like that car has a little bit of damage on the rear end, that GR86? I don't know if that came from earlier or what.
I think T-Gom's got a little bit on the rear end, yes, a little bit right in the center, and then on the right side of the car, about where the number is behind the tire. bit of damage, but again, not much to hurt them. They're running third in class right now.
It's a little bit of a love tap. You know, somebody gave them a little bit of a bump.
A little how do you do, so to speak.
Yes, and ooh, we almost had an incident, but we didn't. It looked like that BMW MG was about to take another GT4 out in the corner in that hairpin. It's a very unique turn we're going to have to watch.
The hairpin.
That's a hornet nest right there, what you're watching.
Yes, it is. Somehow they all made it through that time around, but it's going to take one move. And remember, this is WIP had their issues with the Los Locos last time they were around each other. WIP gets around cleanly this time. Those two not happy. Little anger between the classes.
And also, if I'm that M2 that, you know, had a little bit of an incident, if I didn't need to do it, which more than likely they did, I'm going to be more lenient with that GT4 passing game because I don't want to make enemies with a faster class.
Yeah, I mean, the hope is that it wasn't intentional. And if it was, I mean, questionable timing, questionable decision, all that stuff comes into play. But for now, I think we're just in head down, drive the race car mode, because we've got a lot of time left till we get to the competition yellow, which is about 20 minutes from now.
Yes, and that's, once that hits, it's gonna be all out. That's what I've noticed in these races before in the past. I mean, just in general, once you hit that competition yellow, everybody's kind of figured out the track, they figured out their car a little bit, they figured out where they need to be careful. People are gonna be pushing harder in certain sections. Ooh.
Got to the inside.
Those cars are going beside each other into the hairpin's not a good idea.
They got stuck together. Yeah, they got stuck together.
Yep, that's not a good place to try and make a pass.
Yeah, they kind of, oh, yeah, and then they got beaver moosed. They're still stuck.
Yeah, there's that hairpin's provided most of the incidents in this race so far.
Apologies, beaver moose, for turning you into a verb, but I think that was pretty apt. Into the hairpin from high above. Contact into it, and then they just, because of the contact, never allowed the smooth operators, that red and white car, to get rotated. Beaver Moose has no idea they're there. Boom! Esports Black somehow snuck by. Yeah, that's just one of those unfortunate incidents.
This whole track is like a parking lot when we have these incidents because it's so tiny. Like, you can't get past it once there's an incident. You're more than likely going to hit it.
And meatball flag for middle of the pack racing endurance.
I mean, we need to get a counter for how many meatball flags we've seen so far.
It has been a good number, that's for sure. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Only one battle for position on the racetrack within a second. It would be Royalty Racing trying to hold off Rockefeller Racing Purple for the AM lead. 5th overall in this one.
And while we have a little bit of time with no battles on the track, I need to mention a little bit about this track's history. This track was first run in 1975 with Formula cars in a very different configuration. But it was envisioned to be the Monaco of the West. So that's why we see these tight downforce-related turns, because it's resembling Monaco. And that being one of the most tight tracks in F1. If I'm looking at this correct, is this a battle for position between these two Porsches?
Sure is. What I mentioned earlier for 5th, Royalty Racing, Rockefeller Racing Purple. Half a second between each other.
And they're getting closer. And that's going to be a battle to watch, because these GT4 cars battling each other, it's going to be like traffic that decides, or somebody makes a mistake. You know, these are good drivers. We've seen a few mistakes made, but it's... A lot of times you get somebody else makes a mistake, it'll mess you up. It will screw you up.
Yeah, you've mentioned rhythm a few times. Very easy to get out of your rhythm at a racetrack like this. And the rhythms will make you fast and smooth. You catch someone in a weird spot, someone does something you don't expect, you get kind of jostled from that rhythm a little bit, and then it's hard to get it back. usually leads to issues and overdriving and locking up tires and hitting stuff, and all the things you don't want to have in a race is usually what that leads to. But
it seems like that. I apologize for interrupting. That car, the back push, that 129 car, had a little bit of trouble getting to that inside of that car.
Oh, they overdrove it. They missed the corner.
Ooh, another incident where they did really well at avoiding it.
Saw that car wobble under braking. Let's go on board. See this happen in a hurry. Watch the panic on the heads. You'll be able to see this very well through the netting. Left side of your screen.
Coming into where it's about to start wobbling here.
Yeah,
is that a brake lockup or a wobble?
Well, I think they hit the brakes and either chattered the tires, just missed a shift, something like that. They didn't get the amount of, basically, that didn't slow down the way they wanted it to with the engine braking or whatever the case was. They had to bail on the corner and not hit the car in front of them. That's why you saw the kind of quick hands back to the right to avoid running into the driver in front of them. They did a great job of it. It's unfortunate they lose a lot of time. They were about half a second behind Royalty Racing. They're now 6 seconds back of WIP Racing. So yeah, they lost about 9 seconds out of that.
We are seeing, I think, is that Stephen Kelly in that 191 car, I think, just got lapped as a GT4.
That Big Promble had issues earlier. They are a lap down in the AM class. A lot of race left.
It does look like looks like it's kind of getting closer between the two leaders currently in the GT4 class. There's a little bit of a gap, but looking at these lap times, that 26 car is about 0.6 quicker on this last lap.
I think the Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue team is taking it easy a little bit. You do see Alpha Trout. Sorry, that's stock by Bud closing in. There is no the other stock entry not here this evening, just the Bud entry for the Thumb Esports Motorsport Sim Sports Racing powered team.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a look back at these lap times as they're coming to start finishing. But it does seem, looking at that gap, it is shrinking, those two cars.
Alpha Trout works around Big Promble.
And there is a big difference in the speed between that number 1 and that number 26 car. Almost a second difference in that last lap by.
Let's watch them chase. Let's watch the chase.
Because this is one of those things.
Oh, he almost hit the wall.
Ooh!
Overdrove the corner.
That's what you get when you push too hard. And again, we have that competition yellow.
Oh, Rockefeller, purple on pit road. That's a scheduled stop.
You're seeing quite a few of these stops being made. Again, it's probably two split strategies, how people are going to run it.
Right.
And we're seeing the second strategy seem to come in now.
Because we normally see about 40, 45 minutes on a tank of fuel here, and that's kind of where we're at right now, is right in between that. So we're about 25 minutes away from that competition yellow. It's at 65 minutes.
Yes, and once that competition yellow happens, we're going to kind of re-rack, get a little bit of a rerun in it. Let people get a little bit closer, get relined back out where they need to be, learn the track, learn how our cars handle, learn a little bit about where to watch out with this particular version of live racing. Then we're going to figure out where the real racing is going to happen. Looking here, these are the two very similar cars, but after that 26 car had a little bit of a problem, that 42's catching up.
Yeah, within a second at the front of the field. SRN Esports Gold, Kyle Bassett is on the pit lane. It's from the 4th spot. A little further back at Eclipse Racing Solar. Currently second in the AM class, ways behind Royalty Racing, who is up in 4th. These guys are down 9th position.
That car is, we've had some problems with most of these GT4, not most, but quite a few GT4 cars have had some problems. I don't know if these cars have too many problems, but they have been, it looked like they're being extra careful.
Well, they had the spin on lap 1 right here through the fountain section that had them backwards and not able to get turned around right at the tail end. Basically, they're passing by it right now. They got stuck offline, couldn't get it rotated around, and lost a ton of time. Went back to basically last in the race. They're now just slowly but surely working their way through it as Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue is on the pit lane for the first time today.
Yes, and that is going to put those 26 and that 42, the cars that look pretty similar, battling probably for what is the position that they would need. The position for their strategy.
Now, usually, I believe Alpha Trout is able to save fuel very, very well. Will they push it an extra lap, or do they come in at the same time as the Thonk rivals in front of them?
If I'm that 26 car, I'm going to wait for that 42 to pit and see if I have enough fuel to go back around and overcut them. If I can overcut them and I get a good out lap and everything works out right, you know, this is multi-class racing. It's never going to work out perfect. But if it works out right, maybe I can get back in front of them, and you know it's going to be harder for them to pass.
Possible, but yeah, it really depends on if you saved enough to do that, and what the other team have in the tank. Can they make it another lap? Because in this series, what we've seen is if you can go the extra lap, it's come down to a matter of hundreds of feet before. Remember back to Road America, where the win was taken away at the start-finish line by about a fender on fuel mileage. So we've seen it before. We'll definitely see it again. Alpha Trout comes in this time by.
Yeah, and that 26 car is going to more than likely come back in the next lap. If they do push it a little farther, it would be risking the car with the newer tires and them getting lucky and you getting unlucky. You're just going to have to try it.
Especially when you see the traffic in front of them working into a few M2s and actually that's one of all the classes actually.
The M2s is where that speed difference becomes a little bit iffy. I mean, we've seen a few incidents between the GT4s and the M2s, the GR86s and the M2s, or GR86 and GR86, in that hairpin. So if it's me, after that hairpin, I'm pitting. Because if I can make it out safe, I'm going to do some time.
Alpha Trout in the box for 20.3 seconds. Should just now be exiting the pit lane. Still rolling it. There it is, 53.2 seconds down. That was pretty quick. E-brake boys quite a bit faster, I should say, though they pit a while ago. Should see the Thonk team hit the pit lane once they get through the hairpin.
SRN Esports Black car, they pitted already, haven't they?
They did. They had the meatball flag when they knocked the nose off in the hairpin. There's the stop.
So now we're going to see where that 26 car comes out in relation to the rest of the GT4 field after their pit stop.
And that would be second. Well, after their pit stop, like you say, but right now they will take the lead back. And I don't think they're going to have to pit until the comp yellow.
Yeah, and that's really the big difference here is how when these cars get out and everything. But it looks like it's going to be close between that 26 and that 42 car coming out.
Yeah, Alpha Trout just now rolling through 10 into the hairpin. Thonk still in the pit box.
Yeah, it may not be as close as I thought because that long straightaway after the hairpin's really fast. And if he doesn't get that momentum and that 42 seconds.
Yeah, Thonk's still in the pit box. They've been there for another 12 seconds. They just got past. They haven't left the pit box yet.
They're probably repairing some damage. I'm not sure.
They just now left the pit box. They got a long way to go before they can get out of pit road. They're going to lose a ton of time on this sequence.
Yeah, and, well, where are we going to see them come out at is the question. It looks like it's going to be around 6 or 7. I mean, 5th or 6th. I apologize. I apparently can't read today. And that's fitting for a little bit of a mess this race has been. My brain's also a mess.
And we saw Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue take a bit of a longer stop as well, pack it full of fuel. So it seems like Alpha Trout, SRN Esports Black, and E-Brake Boys, they're racing to the comp yellow. Texas Speed Blue, Thonk, who just pit, SRN Gold, they're really more pitting to go as long as they can and not include that comp yellow. So they're probably going to stay out there and try and gain the track position, which is a good call, I believe, based on how hard it is to pass and working through lap traffic. So curious to see that unfold here in not too long.
Yeah, it looks like we're about, if I'm correct, 15 minutes or 10 minutes away, if I'm correct.
10 minutes away from an hour. Yeah, pretty close.
Around that time, we're going to actually have our competition caution, and that's going to really and truly is just going to make the difference here is the strategy for the competition caution.
Yeah, 65 minutes into this one, they will throw the comp yellow. So about 16 minutes away from that time.
Yeah, looking at the GR86s, we have the 409 and the 433 about within a second of each other. That'll be something to look at.
While we close in on the comp yellow, you want to get actually fast? Swelio Almeida is launching the biggest update of his career, Almeida Racing Academy 3.0. It isn't just theory. Swelio is packing everything he's learned from coaching 12,000 students, 3,500 one-on-one sessions, and becoming a radical champion and racing at the top level in IMSA against factory drivers and world champions. His coaching has evolved, and the results are real. Academy students are winning at top-tier esports and even real-world trophies, like the 24 Hours of Barcelona. The new Almeida Racing Academy 3.0 is a single membership that includes everything. You get all the premium online courses like Motor Racing Checklist, which used to cost $200 all by itself, combined with the Academy League, workshops, group practice sessions, and integrated telemetry tracking. It's all on the brand new platform built from scratch by Swelio's team. They've even included a new braking exercise featured where you can practice your precision right from the website. Thank you, Media Racing Academy, for sponsoring SRN and the SCEL all season long.
I mean, that to me sounds like a pretty fun time, a really good learning experience. So, I mean, but also coming back to learning, these drivers are still learning this track, it seems. Looking through here, we're seeing some cars, more cars pitting.
Had an issue. I think Aaron Kushner here in Gear 5, I think they maybe sped on the pit road, but we didn't get the limiter engaged.
That's a big penalty for this track because it's so hard to pass. If they sped, that's
I think that's what happened. I don't think they got it wound up in time.
And that doesn't take them out of contention, but that puts them quite a bit away from really continuing.
Certainly doesn't help.
I mean, any mistake at this track is brutal. Right. You make a mistake, you're in the wall. You make a mistake on pit road, it's gonna mess you up. Any mistake you make is like 10 times what a regular track is.
Royalty Racing slides back to the 8th spot, still leading the AM class over Big Promble, who is making quite the rebound after having their issues. Big Promble back on the lead lap, I might mention.
That is a good recovery for them, though.
And Rockefeller Purple also is right on the tail. That would be 3rd in the AM class. Thunder GT Turtles leading the way in the AM2s. They have a fairly commanding 6.5 second lead over Croc.
Talking about a commanding lead, look at that GR86 lead. That's 30 seconds from the first to the second position.
Yeah, Razor Racing is putting on a clinic right now. Team BRZ, obviously with the heavy damage earlier, got it fixed. They are, as you mentioned, 30 seconds behind. Another 30 seconds back to steady state. Haven't seen this class be all that competitive here today.
No, and I mean,
E-Brake Boys, big issue.
That's another incident.
Oh no, turn 1 again.
That's the problems at this track. Is that turn 1 is your hardest braking zone. You mess it up, you've seen a few people hit that wall, and if you just barely make it out from not hitting it.
And we're gonna see car drill this wall here in just a moment. There it is. They were on the inside, and they just missed it. They hit it hard, though. That's a big hit.
That is probably a meatball flag.
It is. It sure is. That's the biggest hit we've seen all day, I think, in that corner. As we got some traffic to deal with. 3 wide down the backstretch.
3 wide is not a good idea at this track. That is very risky.
Single filed out for the moment. These 3 are all for position. This would be 7, 8, and 9 on the racetrack. Weenie Hut, Royalty Racing, and WIP on the rebound as we close in on the comp yellow. Only about 10 minutes away. E-Brake Boys getting passed by all 3 of these cars up against the outside wall. You see them on the left side of your screen.
Yeah, that's some heavy damage. They're going to pit road. They have to, but also it's the only really choice to have. And gain any positions for that
car is undrivable, it looks like. Ooh, almost contact. WIP Racing, they got a little
corner, though.
Little spooked almost. They did a good job of not letting that get to them.
Through here, that's going to be... You can throw a blanket over these 2 cars. They're so tightly packed, and they are battling. They're doing it clean. I mean, I want to take a look at some of these cars. That you have the 95 car, which is in the lead, and the Mustang. After that, you have the next car back. Looks to be the 42, which is a Porsche. And the 1 car is Porsche. Seems
BMW.
like we're seeing a lot of Porsches, or BMW, I apologize. It seems like we have a lot of Mustangs in this car.
Yeah, top 4 different manufacturers, so clearly there is no meta in this series. The Ford leads the way, Porsche in second, BMW, then Mercedes rounding out your top 4. First repeat would be the BMW. SRN Esports Gold behind the wheel of this one. Running in fifth, Kyle Bassett driving right now.
Looking at that there is no difference between manufacturers, that's a really good thing for this VOP. Got some tight battling going on here between those 2 cars. That's those 2 Mustangs looking right on each other.
Oh, Weenie Hut, we made a mistake. Into the fountain section. Whip got around him. Royalty Racing just cannot get by these guys.
No, and the WIP car is having has a really good rebound after what happened.
Up to 7 or up to 6 now for Francois Schenk.
That's a really good rebound. I mean, looking at what's happened to half of these cars that are in the top of the field, a lot of these cars have had incidents.
Clearly it is time for the M2s to pit. We see most of them on pit road here. Only Smooth Operators has yet to bring it down the pit lane. I think they'll hit it this time by. So call it roughly an hour for them on the fuel.
I'm going to take a look at these cars, the 191 and the 129. Ilya and Stephen Kelly, they're a little bit on each other. I can't tell the exact positions. It looks like either Ilya's going a lap down or they passed.
8th, or that's 9th and 10th.
They just looked reversed on my end, so I can't tell. And it looks like, yes, it does look like Ilya passed that Mustang.
Yeah, Big Promble has been having a bit of an issue here. They were a little higher up. Now they are 3rd in the AM class, although their 2 competitors are right in front of them in terms of position. Oh, they just will cut the wall there. Not necessarily on the racetrack, is in front of Ilya, like you mentioned, is Royalty Racing, who is a ways up, about 6 seconds away. You can see him at the end of the straightaway. That's a long distance. It's going to get evaporated here in a moment with the comp yellow.
Yes, that is coming in about 7 minutes, if I'm correct.
Pretty quick here, pretty quick.
And I mean, the beginning of this race was messy, but we've all lined it out. You know, we've gotten ourselves straightened out. We're running some good lap times, not as many incidents. Let's say that somebody's going to wreck. broadcaster's curse, as we call it. But it seems like we've figured it out a lot more than at the beginning.
Yeah, so far, so good for the last hour or so. Pretty good.
We're having some good looks at possible passing opportunities. People are starting to get in that.
3 wide again down the front stretch. Short-lived.
That is what makes me nervous, is those 3 wide. I get nervous, and I'm not even in the car. I get nervous.
Short-lived, think steady state, just wanting to get out of the way. Good job of doing so.
Looks like these cars are yet again, some of these GT4 cars are just right in, like back to back to back.
They all want to go to the weenie hut.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Then we got that Mustang right there. The car is definitely been involved. Ooh, we got a car around.
Steady state. Currently the last car running. This has not been their day.
Nope. Trying to get it around. Can they get it going? They got it going.
They got it. They got it. That's probably the best place to spin if you had to pick a spot. I think big issue for Breakfast Racing Club. They're well off the pace. Pretty heavy damage on that car as well.
I mean, I cursed them. I told you, I'm not a big superstition person. But yeah, I mentioned that it was going smooth, and now it's not.
Did they have an issue? I don't see it. If they... Oh, they did have a bit of a slip. I wouldn't say they hit anything. They just... Yeah, really no issues. Just I thought that they lost a lot of time there. Maybe not.
I mean, if you make a mistake coming out of that hairpin, it's gonna compound down that straightaway.
Smooth operators on the pit lane.
Is that the last car pitting?
That is the last car in the M2s to pit. We have yet to see Razor Racing, your GR86 leader, apologies. They have not pit yet. Neither has SCEL Tigom 1. They've yet to hit the pit road as well. Every other driver has been on pit road at least one time.
These GR86s usually run the longest. I mean, they have a good lifetime for their fuel, but I'm more surprised by how quickly the M2s put.
Yeah,
could have been surprised to me there.
Could have been strategy. I mean, the wrong stuff was only on pit road for 9 seconds. That was actually that was for repairing damage. They really haven't made their big stop yet. Put fuel in it, of course, to get to the stage, or get to the comp yellow. But strategy could still be interesting for these drivers if they're not on their strategy quite yet. They're just trying to figure out as they go.
Yeah, and the interesting thing to me is how different these cars are. The fuel window, these GR86s coming out. How is that going to affect the battles going on the track right now? Because these GR86s, I mean, have to pit soon. Or is it just going to be at the comp yellow?
At this point, probably going to be comp yellow. We're only a few minutes away from it. Drivers making their last-minute pit stops before it. Weenie Hut is in.
That is looking... Ooh, is this a battle for M2?
Oh, SRNE Sports Gold with the meatball flag. Big issue for them. What happened? Into turn 1, it looks like.
Seen a lot of issues in this into turn 1 here.
Tried the aggressive pass, and that thing did not turn one bit. Knocked the nose off. Killed the front end. To pit road we go.
Yeah, they both missed that corner on that part. One of them just locked up and kept it going. The other hit it pretty hard.
Big Promble on pit road. Behind the Weenie Hut car, Davis Motorsports. Might get a couple spots here. They may pit, hard to say. They will keep it on the racetrack.
These Porsches, I've seen these two right behind each other most of this race. Porsche seem to be connected.
M-Class leader still Royalty Racing in the Porsche. Got to hold off Rockefeller Racing. It's 4 seconds back.
I think, in my personal opinion here, these GT4s handled it so much worse, because I've been testing this and everything. GT4s were just, like, slippery compared to the rest of the cars. The M2 was actually the easiest to drive, in my opinion. Looking back at it, it's just an interesting thing to think about because these GT4s are faster, but you gotta realize with the speed comes the responsibility of controlling the speed.
Right. So we got an epic battle. This is for second, the Locos car, as well as Croc. Second in the M2 class. Crossover almost.
Almost worked. Just barely went a little too fast in that corner to make that crossover work. The car was still down there. If he had held it a little bit more, he may have could have made it work. Coming onto the straightaway, he could have. I think these M2s are entertaining to watch here because they've put on some pretty good battles.
This has been the class that's been the closest consistently throughout, with the exclusion of the leader, although they are now getting caught, by Locos and Croc.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at it, the 95 has a 14-second lead over the 42.
After crashing once.
Yeah, and Razor Racing has a 1 minute and 20-second lead. And then you look at the M2s, it's 1.5 for first, second, third.
Yeah, Razor Racing's about to lap their class, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, they're putting on a absolute masterful race in that class.
Now, granted, they haven't pit yet, so that's got something to do with it. But still, I mean, that's still pretty wild.
I mean, even without the pitting, they were still 30 seconds ahead before.
North Sports Racing, I believe, on pit road here. Oh no, spin for them.
Just into turn one again? Does look like it.
I think it was out of the fountain section. On the brakes, although they way overshot it. Did a good job of avoiding Royalty Racing. That could have been much, much worse.
Yeah, we've seen. Before we get to the Comp Yellow action,
there's the Comp Yellow. There it is.
I mean, do we want to take a second and look at the field while they're going through the Comp Yellow?
At the field?
Like, take a look back through the positions and everything.
We can do that.
So looking at it so far, we have P1 being the 95 SRN Esports Black for GT4, 42 for the Alpha Trout Racing in second, and Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue in third. I'm just going to mention the top three of these classes because there's quite a few of the GT4s and not as many of the others. But we have the leader for BMW M2, we have Sunday GT Turtles, and then we have this Los Locos, I can't pronounce it, I apologize, and then Croc. And then for the lead in GR86, we have Razor Racing, almost a minute ahead for this comp. And we have Team BRZ and SCEL TGO M1.
Podium in all three classes as we have about an hour and a half left in this one. We'll get back racing here in about 20 or so minutes once we get everyone sorted out, pit, reorganized, relined up, all that fun stuff. So now would be a terrific time, if you haven't already, to go get yourself a snack, potentially a beverage, and get settled in here for what's going to be a wild back part of this race. And while we have a moment, let's talk about one of our other sponsors that help bring you this series all season long. How about Pimax? Check out the description below. Use code SRN at checkout to save between $50 and $80 on your next purchase on these terrific headsets that Pimax makes. See it on the back here of Steady State. Pimax logos. I believe they're Pimax users. I'm also a Pimax user.
I was going to say, personally, if you've heard much about them, because I'm looking for a new headset. I don't know who.
Certainly worth a look at the very least. Very good at what they do for VR headsets.
And I'm getting a little bit of radio from the race control here, but it seems to be more about how they're going to work through here. Like, work through this, because, I mean, he does seem like he is mentioning to be careful in this hairpin because, people catching the safety car is going to be a problematic situation. So, the race control's giving some directions here for us to not have some incidents like we had at the start here in 6.
Yeah, we did have issues with those cars not turning, getting stuck up against the tire barrier, outside wall, couldn't get going properly. Last time I was here, which was the first time I was here, I should mention, was an IndyCar race a week ago for the Mystic Racing League, their IndyCar series, or KT IndyCar series. And there were drivers who didn't get to make it to the start-finish line because they crashed into the hairpin under pacing. Knocked the nose off the car, knocked the tires off the car, no fast repairs, day over for those drivers. So we've done a lot better than those drivers at this particular juncture of the game, but another restart coming up will make things a little bit precarious, I believe, for a lot of the field. But while we have a moment, take a quick step aside, little Juicy Spiders side by side. I'll be back in just a few moments.
Here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Suelio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Suelio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Wait a race, buddy, wait a race.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the SCEL on V-Speed, working the competition yellow at the 65th minute of the race. Just under an hour and a half left in this one. Drivers get to make their pit stops under this sequence if they want to. About to get wild here, about to get wild here, Angel, as we get into strategy mode.
It looks like, hearing from race control, that we're waiting for this BMW to go around a little bit, and then pit stop should be starting pretty soon after.
To work through, this is the backstretch between, I believe, turns 6 and 7 on this Long Beach circuit.
Doesn't seem like a lot of cars need wave arounds, so it's hopefully not going to be too much longer for this caution before we start hitting and get back to racing not long after.
Should see a lot of drivers peel their cars into pit road here, should they choose, through the very difficult corner that doesn't turn. Sports Black says no, drivers not yet hitting the pit lane.
I think we saw a few cars while we were away hit the wall mid-pacing lap. Something to comment on about how difficult that hairpin is. It's just, it doesn't matter what speed you're going, the car just doesn't want to go.
I feel like there's an optimal speed. Obviously, there would have to be for the car to make good time under green. But I feel like if you're too far below that speed, you just don't turn. Like there's just no weight on the tires and just kind of pushes. So you got to be very careful to not put too much wheel into it in that situation. You'll just skid the front tires like you're driving a snowplow, and you'll end up hitting that outside wall, which we've seen a lot of drivers do today.
Yeah, that.
So we work the comp yellow. SRN Esports Black leads the way. Alpha Trout Challenge in third. So how about second? Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue is in the third spot. That is in the Pro class. Your AM class is led by Royalty Racing. Rockefeller Racing Purple right behind them. That's fifth overall for Royalty, 6th overall for Rockefeller Racing, 7th overall for Eclipse Racing Solar. Those are top 3 in the AM class. So also having great days in the Pro class, should they all be scored the same. GT Turtles leading the M2s. Scuderia Los Locos in the second spot. Seen them have some issues already today with the GT4 traffic. And Croc rounds out your podium. In the GR86s, Razor Racing leads the way. Their lead has been cut down significantly. Was almost a full lap. Now it is the same lap as their competitors, Team BRZ. And SCEL T-GOM 1 getting the wave around, running in the third position in class. Only 2 drivers have retired from the race today. That would be Hale Satin and Texas Speed Sim Racing. White had a short-lived event here, only making it about 15 laps in this one.
So it looks like all wave rounds have been completed. We're just waiting for them to catch the field before we start pitting, it looks like. So we may have another lap, or it may be this lap. I'm not quite sure.
Do we see anyone peel in off of the hairpin? I don't see it yet. So likely another lap.
More than
yeah, another lap or 2 before we get everyone on the pit. Not everyone. Some are going to stay out and get track position. Some are going to pit and try and work it out later. You mentioned overcut works well here. If you don't have to, I'd be hesitant to pit here because you're going to get stuck behind all the slower traffic, and I would be concerned that that would slow you down more than it would help you. Thoughts?
Personally, I would have done the longer strategy. This would have been my strategy. Pit towards the end and run through the caution.
Right. Probably mine as well, but I would only do that here. Probably, maybe Mo Sport, it was hard to pass there through the S's, but I think everywhere else I would be willing to do the undercut because I felt like I could trust myself to pass cars. Here, very difficult to pass, as we've seen all day, whether it's the hairpin or whether it's turn 1 overshooting it or whatever the case is. The fountain section's been an issue for some drivers. You do not want to have to work through traffic and make lap time because you can only do one of those at a time. You're not going to be able to do both at the same time.
It does look like this next time by, we are opening pits. And I noticed that because I'm listening to the race control right now, and he did say that we were opening the pits this next lap by. So look for some pit stops and see what happens.
Working down the hill out of 6 into turn number 7 and that long straightaway on the back.
I think the competition caution is probably the longest part of this because it's just a lot of pacing and getting everything situated for people to get back and just go at it again. So this is something unique to this league that I haven't seen in a while, is this long of a competition caution. But it works out perfectly because at the end of the day, everybody's still in a competitive position. They can still fight. And we're coming down through the hairpin right about now. And this is going to be where it looks like we're going to be seeing some cars peel off not long after.
Should be seeing drivers. There's SCEL, or SRN Esports Black peels down. The Locos. That's Thonk. Smooth Operators. Royalty Racing. A lot of drivers choosing to pit this time by.
It looks like we're seeing a lot more GT4s than we are anything. Yeah. But that also does make a difference because most of this field is a GT4. We have very little M2s and GR86s, but it does seem a lot more common for these GT4s to pit than anything else.
Looks like it's going to get a little hairy as well because we're going to have our first GT4 second in line, or third in line now, behind Sunday GT Turtles and Croc of the M2s. We've seen drivers already struggle to get into turn 1 trying to pass slower cars. It's going to make it a little worse.
I'm not. I want to mention that if we have these cars like the M2s in front, some people are going to want to push it 3 wide. But more than likely in this situation, I would not push it because of this track. But most other tracks, you're going to see them shoot it 3 wide and try to pass those M2s right off the bat because they're much quicker. I'm not risking it here, are you?
I don't think if you can't make the pass by the time you get to turn 1, just ride until you finish the fountain section. I don't think it's worth doing an aggressive move to maybe get the lead by 1 if the result is you hitting the tire barrier on the exit of 1, because we've seen a lot of drivers kill their day because of that. And you definitely don't want to make a move through the fountain section. There's no room on the exit and there's a fountain. You don't want to drive in the fountain. Get the tires wet. That's a bad idea. I don't think those physics exist in iRacing, but still, end up on a highlight reel somewhere by being in the fountain. Probably not a good idea.
Might make for some good publicity, but it's probably not a very fun experience for the driver. Yeah, that fountain section is one of those. It's a bottleneck. You get behind slower cars there, you just don't have a chance to pass until right after you go through turns 2, 3, 4, and then up into 5, you might have a chance.
Yeah, most of this track is a bottleneck. We just worked through the other section right there, the hairpin. Very easy to bottleneck there. See drivers hit the wall under pacing, under green. Class on class, class against other classes. Everyone's hitting each other down in the hairpin.
We even saw it before the race started, if I'm correct. A few people tapped that wall coming down. Yep. So that wall is going to need to be replaced after this race. We're going to need to do some buff it out, make sure it looks good after.
Yeah, it's definitely seen some better days.
Yeah, it's like...
Pace lights are out on the pace car. One more time around before we get this thing back underway. Should be about a minute, or about an hour and 15 minutes left in this one. Little short stint to the end.
That stint, okay, so if I'm trying to cut it close, GT4s, they run about 40 minutes. These cars that didn't pit under this comp yellow are gonna have to they may not be able to make it in 1 stop. They may have to do 2. which comes to the question of strategy of how much fuel do they have in there right now? Do they have enough to do a 2-stop or a 1-stop?
And that's been the gamble every week: is do you 1-stop or do you 2-stop? And sometimes we see the 1-stop works. Usually the 2-stop has been the winning strategy this season. Last week, I think, was actually the first, or last month, I should say, I think was the first time the 1-stop actually worked to win a race. Almost did at Road America, but it ran out of fuel coming to the line. Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky because of how hard it is to pass. I think that's the part of it that really gets me, that makes me think about it twice, is I'd want a 2-stop to be safe, but I don't want to get caught in traffic. So maybe you can slow down enough on the 1-stop to make it work just by having to work traffic naturally anyway.
And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to get to the lead. I'm going to push. Look, when I get to a little bit of a lead, I'm just going to coast and try to do a 1-stop. That would be my strategy, because how hard it is to pass. You get out of the pits in a bad spot, your race is, it's taking a hit. Your whole strategy's taking a hit. So I would personally do a 1-stop.
We're about to find out. Pace car going to be off the pit lane, or onto the pit lane, I should say, off the racetrack. Field in the hands of the Sunday GT Turtles. And we have the green flag in the air. Back racing, and look at that already, drivers fanning out.
And it looks like that GT4 car is going to get in front of them in another GT4. Is that WIP?
WIP is in the second spot. Yes, we got a land rush down to the turn number 1, 2, 3. Look at, there's a driver on the inside, not going to make the corner. Ooh. They wiped out a bunch of cars.
That's a heavy incident. That's a rough day.
And Croc was part of that as well. Weenie Hut took a big hit in that one. Royalty Racing's part of it.
I don't know what the plan was there.
Really, I think Gear 5, they just missed the corner.
Yeah, looks like Weenie Hut is towed. They couldn't even finish it back.
You see it right there? They just missed the corner into this. Oh, well, Weenie Hut got nailed.
Yes. They got put in another zip code.
Yeah, they got hit hard in that one. Weenie Hut with the meatball flag right off the rip. Texas Speed Sim blew, and Whip got away because everyone crashed behind them. They're out to a 5-second advantage over the e-brake boys.
Now, this is the question of, are those 2 cars going to be able to do a 1-stop because of that incident? Can they use it to their advantage? They can make a 1-stop work.
WIP Racing has a much better shot. They've only got 10 laps on the stint. Texas Speed's got 22. There is no shot they're doing a 1-stop. 2-stop all day for those guys. They're just going to have to be fast and just drive as hard as they can the entire time. We have a parking lot down here.
Yeah, that restart was something. I want to take a look back at that. That just backed up the whole field. The whole field got pushed back, besides the front 2 after.
The M2s are all tight together.
Yeah, and those 2 are right on each other. That looks like the 203 right on the bumper. I am blind, and I need glasses.
Haven't spoken about the Rockefeller Racing green car too much. That would be Joe Nagy in the 237, running in the 3rd position at the moment.
I'm looking. The whole field is tight together after that incident. Ooh, looks like we're almost 3 wide going into that corner, but I think better of it.
Field mixed up here between the M2s and the GT4 class.
GR86 cars are really almost nowhere to be seen. They're kind of in their own area right now.
They're at the tail end of this. We do have a pass for the lead as well. Razor Racing is no longer the leader. It is Team BRZ. After all the wave rounds and things, that's the gap, 1st to 2nd. See the purple car versus that pink car with the black accents. That is your 2nd place runner.
Ooh, we got an incident down in the hairpin.
Oh, yes, we do.
Lot.
Oh, that's Alpha Trout.
Oh, that's a whole mess.
Yeah, that's not the way. Oh, my goodness. We're going to go back and look at this one.
there was a lot of cars that got backed up there.
And the Turtles, they might have been part of it. That was class leader. They're not anymore. Oh, Break Fast just went aggressive. And yeah, they basically just plugged the whole lane there.
That's something you don't see every day. The whole track was blocked.
Yeah, Break Fast made an aggressive move there and cost them.
Yeah, I mean, it cost a few other people. I mean, that whole section got backed up.
11 seconds the gap now. Davis Motorsports back to Alpha Trout. Apologies, Rockefeller Purple back to Davis, 11 seconds. That's how much time they lost with that squabble down in the hairpin. But it could happen any single lap. That's the crazy part about this is it only takes one mistake, one lap to lose you double-digit seconds in that part of the racetrack. It's so treacherous.
Yeah, and now again, like I said, people are getting more aggressive, but that's also going to cause more incidents, especially in that area. And the mountain section, really don't want to make moves, but we see a lot of people try it, risk it, say, hey, maybe I can make this work. Nobody else has. But you got to try something different, too. So if you don't try anything, you're not going to.
If you follow the leaders, you're just going to follow the leaders.
And the overall lead is getting closer between WIP and Texas Sim Racing Blue. You're right on each other.
Yeah, if you're WIP Racing, your goal right now is to run Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue as hard as you can, get run out of fuel quickly. If you're Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue, same thing for WIP. WIP has a chance to one-stop it. Texas Speed Sim does not have a chance to one-stop it. You can't let them get away, though, because if you get too far out, we have seen that the undercut works significantly well throughout some parts of the season. Probably won't happen tonight, but if you're in clean track, it could work out just fine if you're in clean track.
I mean, I don't know if you've watched last year's IndyCar race. I don't know if anyone did it. But there was a situation where one of the drivers had an incident. They were already in the back, and they undercut. They pretty much just pitted off the bat almost to get change of tires and also just did it. It worked out for them because they had clean track. And that clean track means you can run quicker times. And you also have clean air when you're in traffic. So it's a whole debate of just how lucky are you going to get. You're going to roll the dice, you're going to hope for the 777s, or are you just go for the basic, generic strategy?
Now that is the question we're going to be fighting for the rest of the race. A few drivers getting close together here. Davis Motorsports trying to get around Break Fast Club Racing. Royalty Racing all caught up in that melee in the hairpin. All nose to tail here.
And I'm, looking at the lap times between the leader and the car behind them, the 88. That 88 car has been consistently faster than the number one. We got about 1/10 the lap before, and then this lap they were 3/10, and then coming up to the line, I'm going to have to take a look at it again. That car is running them down. They were bumper to bumper, a little bit of a bump.
Yeah, Schenk should be probably a 3-time winner this season based on his performances. Hasn't quite had it to go and get one of these wins here this season. I think his best shot was at Mosport, had an issue coming down to it in the final couple corners, very similar to Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott back about a decade or so ago. That sort of similar finish that we saw coming down the final 10 minutes or so. Took him out of a chance to win the race.
If I'm correct, I am actually in I'm in another league with this guy, Francois Schenk, and he is a good driver. A really good driver.
One of the highest rated drivers in the lobby. Certainly a road course specialist.
There's a few of these guys that are really high I rating, but I rating doesn't matter because this is my opinion on the I rating system. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, a lot of those lobbies are fun. This is a lot more skill because you have to race clean. You lot of open lobbies. I'm sure as anybody else who races iRacing knows, are not clean. So really and truly, it's a gamble of whether the iRating is going to matter.
I think really the biggest flaw to iRating is that you can have. I'll talk about oval for a second because I think that's the best example of it. Your oval iRating is you get the same iRating whether it's mini stocks or whether it's A Open, right? And those are very different cars, very different situations, different tracks, all that stuff. So driving a mini stock around Lanier versus driving a NASCAR Next Gen car around Texas are two very, very different things, but the ratings kind of point to the same idea. I think that's really my only issue with the rating systems. I think it's a little too generic in some areas. I like the recent split that they did, recent being 2 years ago or so, splitting road into Formula and sports car. I think that was a nice touch, allowing us to kind of see which side of the road, so to speak, you drive on, whether it's the sports car or the Formula car. But there's a little bit of refinement to it, I'm sure. But by and large, I think the service does a pretty good job of getting us what we need and telling us how good we are at driving these virtual race cars around racetracks.
And yes, they are. There's none better than iRacing with this. It's just everybody has their nitpicks. But
of course,
this game is so good at this, and there's the reason we're able to get these good broadcasts out to y'all. Because there's really tight racing, but there's some really skilled drivers that make this possible. You all out there watch.
Shank still putting the pressure on Matt Best at the top of the leaderboard, 1 and 2 at the moment. E-Brake Boys about 7 seconds back, little ways to them. Thonk by Bud running in the 4th spot. SRN Esports Black, Avery Miller, the nose pushed in, running in the 5th position. Leading the M2s is the wrong stuff, who have had the right stuff for most of the season. That familiar paint scheme. Fast again. Middle of the pack, Endurance find themselves in the 2nd position. Rockefeller Racing Green in 3rd spot. North Sport in 4th. And Croc just got around the GT Turtles. That was for the 5th position in the M2s. The 86s, the drivers running. BRZ, they are leading the way. SCEL T-GOM 1 in 2nd. Razor Racing is back to 3rd, their lowest spot of the day. Ballymore is in 4th, Steady State. Speedworks in 5th is still the last car running. Hale Satin has left the session about 45 minutes ago.
We're getting down to about an hour left. We're about an hour and 4 minutes out. Very soon we're going to see some of these GT4 cars start hitting about 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes around there. We're going to see some of these cars that pitted earlier have to hit again because they can't run very, very long on these this amount of fuel with these cars.
At Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue will be the first one down pit road, I am sure.
And what we're going to... This is my bet, that WIP Racing might try to stretch it to a 1, but it all depends on where Texas Speed Sim Racing is out at. If they get out in a really, really good spot, they may have to respond and hit earlier. Try to make it a 2 stop.
Riding on board with Weenie Hut Racing by Late Apex Racing Club. Of course, these drivers were up in the top 5 before they got missiled into turn number 1 at the tire barrier. And that put a major damper on their days. We almost have a crash into the fountain section that time by. Oh, they did hit the wall there on the exit. Big Promble caught the fence. Gear 5 is not having a good day today. Overshot it, hit the wall. Slowed down in front of Big Promble. A little bit of contact there. Then they just, I think they clipped, they way overshot. Hit that one too. Promble had to stop.
It's a slinky effect after that.
Yeah, big accordion. Yeah, the 101 has definitely had better days in this series. Currently running 15th for Gear 5, Aaron Kushner. 100 login laps. Climax on the hood. I'd have to wonder, if you're running a VR headset at this place, better be pretty bumpy and pretty rough to deal with all those oscillations and jostles. That might be quite a journey, I would say, to do that, but also quite a feat to be able to accomplish that without getting motion sick, because, man, this place is rough, especially in a motion sim.
You want to talk about one of the worst tracks in the VR headset? It is Road Atlanta, which is actually, I think, correct, next month and the last race of this season for the series after this race.
I believe it is.
And if you're running VR there, you're going to get motion sick, and that's going to be one to look out for, though, because it's a rapid track, and it's also a lot of elevation changes.
We will find out, I am sure.
And I'm looking at it. This race has been really good, actually. I'm gonna be honest. I'm skeptical because the fact of just how tight this track is. I didn't know if we'd have much passing. We've had a lot of passing. We also had a lot of wrecks. They kind of come in waves. If you have a lot of passing, you tend to have a lot of wrecks.
And we've seen all the races this season be competitive and have exciting moments and exciting finishes. We've also seen a fair share of interesting maneuvers and some incidents that maybe didn't need to happen, some hero ball moments, if you will, that kind of cause issues for other drivers. But really, it's been a really solid race. This was the first time that we didn't see somebody spin all the way around under yellow. We've seen that happen every other race. Don't know how, but we didn't see it here today, as we just saw a pass. That was for 5th in class of the M2s with about an hour left, and the battle for the lead is heating up. What else is heating up? Race Ready 3D. Tonight's race brought to you by Race Ready 3D, your source for the high-performance sim racing parts and accessories built for precision, comfort, and durability. From custom mounts to hardware upgrades, every part is designed by racers for racers, helping you stay focused on what matters most, the drive. Visit Race Ready 3D on Etsy or at raceready3d.myshopify.com and get race ready today. Again, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all of the companies who choose to sponsor us here on VSpeed, sponsor the SCEL, as some of this excellent racing that we see. SRN Esports Gold working around, or trying to work around anyway, the E-Brake boys. That would be for 3rd.
Yes, and some of these cars are getting really close now, and it's because they're catching that lap traffic. See here, the leaders are going to have some lap traffic to deal with right now.
Esports Gold tries the aggressive move on the inside of 1. Is it going to work? Oh, they're still there. Into the fountain section. 2 wide. Haven't seen this all day. Contact. Can they make the exit? Barely. Now into 4. Crossover. Got to the back of him. Going to try and get around him. Not quite going to get there. How about for 5? Right on the rear bumper. They got the run off. Sweeper into 6. They have the inside for a moment. Do they dive? Yes. Crossover on the exit? No, they're still there.
This is some of the best
they're
seen
wrapping each other. There goes SRN Esports Gold. The E-Brake boys got him in the corner, and that is going to put a major damper. Well, that's Esports Black, apologies. SRN Esports Black, big damper on their day. Avery Miller, for the 2nd time today, has that car smoking.
And right before that, I was trying to say that it was the best race we've seen. There was some really good battling going in here. And see this turn.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't really know why this happened. There was still enough room. The E-Brake boys didn't have to turn into the door of the SRN car. Of course, the natural line would bring you back to the left side of the road there, but didn't have to be that aggressive getting there. I'm sure there's more to it that we're not seeing, but regardless, Avery Miller taking the brunt of that one, and the magic white smoke has left the rear end of that machine.
And I don't know if they've already used 1.
They did. They used 1. Yeah.
So this is their 2nd fast repair. That's going to be the question of, we still have 57 minutes left. There's quite a few cars that I'm wondering if we're going to have enough to keep going, or are they going to have to really just sit there and repair something.
We've seen a few drivers use both faster pairs already. Steady State Speedworks is one of those drivers. Rockefeller Racing Greens used both. So have the Wrong Stuff, the leaders in class for the M2s. Beaver Moose has used 2. Weenie Huts used both. SRN Esports Gold has used both of their faster pairs as well. So a lot of drivers here have used both faster pairs, really being aggressive with the car, throwing it around a little bit, as Whip is still right on the back bumper of Texas Speed Sim Blue. And there goes Texas Speed Sim Blue down pit road. This is going to be the start of the 2-stop.
Yep, that's a 2-stop strategy right there. Now we're going to see, can WIP Racing make, how many laps can they make with their fuel load? They have like an 8-second gap. How much can they make it? Can they stretch it to a 1-stop?
We saw Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue go 35 with help from those caution laps, so probably more like 30.
Yeah, I would say around there if you have caution laps, around 30.
So if that's the case,
like
WIP Racing likely around that 30 number as well.
Yeah, that's going to be the question is how, and also the question also becomes how much fuel did they save? How much fuel did the other ones save?
Right.
It's a lot of driver input that makes these differences, and we're going to have to see it. It's just all strategy. This whole race is strategy. It's not. It's survive, make it to the end, and make up a ton of positions, as many positions as you can on pit road.
We're pretty sure that Thonk Esports, Motorsports, Sim Sports Racing, powered by Bud, as well as Rockefeller, really everybody except for E-Brake Boys and WIP Racing, and SRN Esports Gold. We're pretty sure everyone else can make it on 1 stop from here. Just depends when that 1 stop is. They're all about 15 laps. They hit under the comp yellow, so they can make it, or they're about 15 laps on the run. So again, we're estimating 30 laps, maybe 15 more or so. Should put us around 40 minutes to the finish, which should get you enough to the end. It's going to be tight, but it always is in this series.
I mean, that tight strategy, that risky strategy, that's how you win races. If you don't take any risks, you're not going to win.
You lose races that way too. I've definitely been on both sides where taking the conservative strategy was the right call because the risk just didn't pay off. And either they couldn't make it or they were too slow trying to save or whatever the case is. I've definitely been on both sides of it, and you just have to do what's best for you and your strategy. Whatever you think is best is going to be the best you can do for what we have in the car, what you got on the tires, how well you save fuel and tires, how fast you are short run, middle run, long run, all that stuff comes into play. Traffic, estimation, how well you can read a crystal ball, all this stuff really matters when you get down to picking a pit strategy because you need all of it.
Yeah, and this race, I think Long Beach as a whole is a proving ground. If you can win here, you can win most places. You have to perform perfectly to win these races at Long Beach specifically.
So had a look there high above Long Beach in the blimp.
Yeah, it looks like we're having a battle for, I think, this position in the M2.
This is 5th, yes. The Turtles trying to hold off Los Locos. Doing so successfully to this point. A few drivers who have not used a faster pair yet in this race.
You mentioned it earlier. We're going to see. Do you still think that not everybody's going to use this one faster pair?
Yeah, I still think that most drivers, not most, I still think there will be drivers with no faster pairs used.
I don't know. I don't really know. It's just this race is so hectic. There's a lot of drivers that are going to have.
I think part of it too is a lot of the contact we've seen has been such slow speed in the hairpin, say, that the damage you get is minimal when you spin there. The really big damage has been into turn 1, where you're still not going terribly fast, but you just catch that tire barrier at a bad angle. As we're having a look at Thonk, about 8 seconds behind Whip Racing for the lead.
That is a unique scheme for that car, but personally I like the scale look and everything. I mentioned it before, these paint schemes. I see a lot of good ones. A lot of ones that stick out to me, too.
Alpha Trout trying to work through traffic. Oh, that's tight. Oh, boy, that was tight. They almost didn't make that stick.
Yeah, I think that GR86, that green one behind them, had to lift a little bit to let them in.
Cut him a break, and they gave him a shot on the exit to say, hey, I didn't really appreciate that. time your passes better, bro.
Yeah, that was a very risky.
But all this while Big Promble up to second in the AM class, chasing down the leader. That would be Rockefeller Racing Purple on your screen right there. 4th overall, leading the AM class.
The AM class, I have always, I mean, in the past, I think it's AM for Ilya. That's the one I always pick. I like Ilya a lot. Ilya was just one of those drivers that I saw do really well, and they were always my pick. And looks like they're doing really well so far.
Been a good day for them so far.
I hope I didn't just do the commentator's curse on them, but you never know.
It happens. It certainly happens. 51 minutes left, estimating about 40 more laps.
Yeah, and looking at WIP Racing, I don't know if they can make it a one-stop. I don't think they can. I think they're going to have to do 2.
They're going to have to stretch it significantly to be able to do that. They're 8 laps on the wrong side of that strategy, at least of everyone else. We know, like, we're fairly confident that Thonk and everyone else can make it a one-stopper. Pitting here within the next 10 to 15 minutes would get you there. They've only got 20 laps on their stuff. We think you can go about 30. WIP Racing, they're already at 27 laps on this run, so they got not a lot of fuel left and a fair ways to get to that lap. They need about 7 laps to be able to get to the 40-minute mark, and that's just, I don't know if they have that in the tank yet.
I don't think they do, personally. But I can also see that they don't look to be as pushing as hard, personally. Ooh, a little bit almost contact there between those 2 cars. Looks like that.
That's 4th. Alpha Trout gets around Big Promble.
Yeah, it looked like that Big Promble got a little bit loose off that corner. It just messed up the exit there and couldn't make it stick to keep alongside him into the next corner.
Puts Big Promble under fire from Eclipse Racing Esports Solar.
I mean, before, BMW M2 was the most competitive class with the least gap between them. Now it's the opposite. The wrong stuff has a 30-second lead.
Yeah, the wrong stuff usually just waits for that comp yellow to really put the strategy into effect, and they start to pull away. SRN Esports Black, another meatball flag.
What happened to them is going to be the question.
This is their final. This is their final.
Their fast repairs are probably out now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Final fast repair. Oh, they got hooked. Although they definitely applied some pressure to the M2 for reasons unbeknownst, but they did it nonetheless. We're going to see it here.
A lot of these GT4 drivers are being very, very aggressive with the M2s.
And this is second in class with the M2, so they're clearly not slouches. I mean, they got loose off the corner, maybe gave a little bit of a door, maybe not super happy with that. But at this point, I mean, you sideswipe them, you get netcode into them, and you get turned into the wall, and you use a second fast repair. I mean, that's just, I don't know. That's a questionable decision, I think, from a driver who could have won the race, had a very fast car, but has just made a bunch of mistakes. And now their chances to win are effectively up in smoke.
Yeah, and I think that M2 that was their second class, yeah, is now under fire, or has been passed in second class.
They have been, yes. They're back now to third. The DT Turtles get around.
Yeah, their bumpers almost is very, looks like it's hanging off almost.
And Los Locos not too far behind either. those 3-4
Like
position.
it looked like it just ruined both of their races right there. It's so. I mean, we had 2 hours and 40 minutes. We're about 47 minutes out now. There's not much more after you get a lap down.
Wrong stuff got put in a weird spot. I think that's Davis Motorsports in front of them. 157, it sure is. Lost a bunch of time, but still not enough to put them in the clutches of the GT Turtles.
There's still about a 31-second gap between them, so he has a little bit of wiggle room there.
Plenty of time between those two. Somebody just crashed. Was that Rockefeller Green? No. Someone just crashed in a big way. Was that your leader?
Doesn't look like it. Who did?
We're going to go back on a replay with this group. I heard somebody hit the wall. Could it have been right here? I think it was. I don't know.
A little contact.
There's
between those two.
definitely some contact there. But oh, there, right there, we saw the Rockefeller car. Oh, they hit the wall pretty good. Look at their left front or the right front.
Yeah, that is a pretty hefty damage.
I don't know if that was from the damage before or if that was from clipping the wall on the entry to the hairpin, but either way, pretty big lick in front of that car.
WIP Racing might be able to stretch it. They're looking close to it. So 45 minutes out, they still haven't hit it.
Yeah, they're right on the edge now, and I think this is kind of scary for everybody else. If they can make it, they got a 7-second lead. It's going to be concerning to try and catch them.
And also, this car has made a comeback so far. I mean, whether they win or not, I mean, it's a good result considering what happened at the start.
Right, they got spun right here.
Yeah, and once you have that happen, you can't get discouraged. It's a lot of mental for these cars, and for in general endurance racing. Any type of endurance racing, you have to keep your mind on it. You have to be able to, okay, I can keep going. I can make up these positions. And that comp yellow helps with it, but also he's just a really good race after that.
Rick Fast Club Racing catching up to Solar.
Yeah, that's there's also, is that another, that's which one? Can't think of the name. It's the pink car behind them is also, I think, 5%.
Yeah, Weenie Hut is a lap down, not for position.
Oh, I apologize.
Same
I
class,
they had
but yeah, they had their issues when they got torpedoed into turn number 1. Let's see, Chad, if you can find a synonym for what happened to them down in turn number 1. Let's keep it PG though, preferably. Actually, just keep it PG in the comments. Let's not get any chat bans here on YouTube. If you enjoy what you're seeing, you're a fan of the broadcast brought to you to this point in time, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment of the racing action here for the SCEL Sports Car Endurance League here, presented by SimRacingNation.com. Brought to you live on V-Speed all season long for this race and the next one, which will be the finale down there in Road Atlanta on May the 1st.
I think Road Atlanta is probably going to be one of your best races here, so we all definitely need to come back for that one. Road Atlanta is such a good track, similar to Long, but it's not. It's a lot easier to pass.
I don't know if I'd say there's been a best race this year. I mean, they've all been just so good. Best finish for sure. I mentioned it. I think this is the third or fourth time I mentioned it. Best finish by a long shot would have to be Road America with that crazy fuel mileage, checkered flag wave, don't know who won photo finish race. If you haven't already, go check that one out. Wait till this is over though. You don't want to leave right now. Check it out later. Another good one was Mo Sport, mentioned that one. Wild finish to that one as well. And X-Ray Esports Gold's on pit road right here. Road America was wild throughout. We had drivers just sailing off the end into turn number 1 twice. Once on both restarts, just drive, completely miss the corner, and you know, go rake the sand out there in the sand traps. But yeah, fun racing throughout this season. Daytona was good.
I apologize, but you want to talk about sailing it into turn 1. We've seen that here, too.
We did.
Except for there's no sand traps. There's just a wall.
Yeah, big tire barrier.
Cars don't
Oh,
like
contact!
that.
There goes Break Fast racing around. Dangerous
And this
spot
is a spot
to be
we haven't really
stopped.
seen any yet.
No traffic for a mile, so great time. Honestly, if all the spots to get spun and the times get spun, that's probably the best one right there. Let's go back and see what caused that accident.
I haven't even seen many accidents there either. That's one of the uncommon spots to see these.
Yeah, just caught that driver. A weird spot. Unloaded the car, spun it around.
Yeah, we got a good look at the suspension of that Mustang in front of them, too,
saw
with that camera.
We saw a lot of the solar cars through that part of the racetrack. Driver who pit and is working on the 2-stop Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue, Matt Best in the 10th. Slow drive up through the field. Gonna get e-brake boys here as they're on pit road, back in the pit box. Going for their one-stopper.
If I am WIP Racing, I'm going to pit this lap or the next. I don't know if they have enough to make it to the next, but I'm going to say watch them because they're going to be pitting soon. They don't have much left in the tank.
Based on e-brake boys pitting just now, I think they got 2 laps left in the tank for WIP Racing. Make that 1, I guess, about a lap ahead, but they got 1 lap left of fuel by my estimation, my comparison, whatever you want to call it. And that probably is going to get them to the end of this one. Oh, Gear 5 meatball flag. Issue for them. That car is destroyed. This is into 1, I think. Get through that part of it into the fountain section. So far, so good. Turn number 4. No issues. Into 5. Goes around and baboof.
Just nails that barrier right there. Hits it. That's a hard hit.
And they got it square. He squared it up. Eclipse Racing Solar is in for their probably final stop of the day.
I want to take back what I said. I do think WIP Racing is going to be able to make it a 1-stop. There's not really.
I think so now.
Make it 2 now.
I would agree. They got what they got here. They've already made their bed. And I think it's got to make them feel better seeing that some of the other drivers already made their stops, like e-brake boys, like SRN Sports Gold. They were not on that same strategy. They brought it down anyway, so.
And you mentioned this before, but he's pitting now. It's Francois Schenck is a really good driver, and he's probably just really good at saving fuel because you have to be for most of these races to be that good at these sports cars. You have to save fuel. It comes down to the driver at this point. It's not the car, it's the driver, because these cars tend to be very equaled out here. We haven't seen much of a manufacturer being better, so I think we have a contender for this win here at the number 88.
At 26 has been fast tonight as well. Remember, this is the leader of the alternate strategy, the for sure one-stop strategy, pit at the competition yellow strategy, if you will. They're about 15, 16 seconds in front of Rocket on the Racing Purple, who is having a blast in the AM lead right now. Alpha Trout challenged the old 4-2. They find themselves in the 3rd spot. Big Promble in 4th, 2nd in the AM class, 4th overall. Break Fast podium in the AM class, 5th overall. All on that same strategy. WIP Racing, we just saw them pit. They're just now leaving the pit road. They are back to 6th spot, about to be 7th potentially. Remember, this is the driver they were fighting against in Matt Best, and they are going to slide behind the Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue entry. Battle for 6th on your screen right now. A couple more meatball flags. Smooth operators. They have hit something. They've hit it pretty hard. What did they hit? They already hit it there. Back one more. Yeah, there we go. Look at the left front of this car.
What did they hit is the question of the day.
I think it was right here. No, it was not. Bit of a kiss into turn 4's wall. Oh, they got loose again in 5, and oh, they hit that big time.
Yeah, that tire's probably messed up too. Their left front.
I think that's why they had the meatball flag, is because of the tire specifically. On pit road, they are right now.
I want to give a shout out to that 129 car, the AM Rockefeller Racing Purple. Pretty well, sitting in second right now for the AM class. That's pretty good. Not a pro driver behind.
Yeah, strategy working out in their favor right now. They got 1.5 seconds up on Alpha Trout Challenge, and they have about 8 seconds on the next car in the AM class. That's Big Promble back in the 4th position. So they're doing an excellent job right now. Let's have a look at the other classes. The Wrong Stuff leads the way by a staggering margin over Los Locos. It's about 30 seconds. Rockefeller Racing Green back in the 3rd position after suffering heavy damage at the front end, still flapping around on that car.
Looking at the GR86s, we got SCEL TGOM as the leader with about a 4-second gap to Razor Racing at 400. Razor Racing
Haven't led today.
Really good race.
SCEL TGOM. You have to see the start finish, or you have to see the lead. Now they are leading in this one in the closing stages.
And we got Team BRZ is a 14 seconds back, and they're the last podium finishing position. And they got a big gap behind them to that 427 of Ballymore Racing of, I'm going to say, around 50 seconds.
And they are the last drivers running Ballymore Racing. Steady Space Speedworks has elected to retire the car as of about 5 minutes ago. SRN Esports Black is in the same boat. Hale Satin retired many moons ago, and so did Texas Speed Sim Racing White.
Yeah, I don't think Hale Satin made it very far.
They did not.
They just kind of pulled off the course.
A few drivers racing while they're sitting still. Big Promble and Breakfast Racing Club parked about a 10th apart from each other.
I mean, I'm watching Francois Schenck and that other car, the BMW they were fighting with before. It seems to be putting on a pretty good back and forth push and pull situation. One gains and then the other gains. It's back and forth.
This is one of those what I would call an artificial battle, because Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue, I don't think they're making it to the end. That's a lot of fuel to save to make it to the end. WIP Racing should be able to make it, though, from here. They pit 2 laps ago. That's within 40 minutes of the window. They might have to save a little bit based on whenever the white flag falls, but they should be in the window to make it to the end. Again, considering Big Promble just pit, we saw Breakfast just pit, these drivers were on a better fuel strategy, and they decided to pit, so I think we're in the window to get to the end. So we got a battle for second now. Rockefeller Racing Purple under fire from Alpha Trout Challenge.
That is that 129 of the AM leader right now. G4 AM leader trying to defend against this 42 pro class.
Alpha Trout Challenge has been pretty stout today, and especially this season.
I'm noticing a few patterns here. That Mustang, like in this, there's not really much of a difference because the Mustang's better in certain sections. But the BMW seems really good in the last little bit of the section right before the hairpin, and then the Mustang seems really good through just the straightaway speed. And you got the Porsche that seems a lot better through the fountain section. So these cars just kind of equaled each other out in their strong suits. So that's probably why we're seeing a lot of this push and pull, and then the Porsches can battle really well, but, you know, it's just going to be different cars have different speed and different places.
Rockefeller Racing Purple and Alpha Trout Challenge on the pit lane for the final time today. That's going to leave Thonk as the lone driver on that strategy to not pit yet.
And when they do pit, it's kind of going to give WIP Racing back the, I would say, inherited lead is what I would call it. If they can get past the rest of these cars.
That Texas Speed Sim Blue will take the lead once everything cycles out, but of course, as you mentioned, It's only temporary, as we believe they cannot make it to the end on the fuel mileage.
Yeah, so that's going to be a really big. I mean, pretty much WIP Racing is the one to beat right now. If they can save enough fuel, they're going to have a lead to the cars behind them that are also doing the one-stop strategy.
Yeah, right now, one other driver yet to pit is Davis Motorsports. They're sitting in fourth. Once they pit, the gap from WIP Racing to Rockefeller Purple will be something in the range of 11 seconds, 17 seconds, somewhere in there. It's a pretty big gap, so a lot of speed to have to find if you're Rockefeller Purple to go get the overall win.
And it's impressive what that 88 car has put on for the
Thoughts on pit road.
WIP Racing. Yeah. It's impressive, though. And Thonk also put on a really good show. They've had some incidents themselves. A lot of these GT4 cars are just overcoming a lot of these battles. Well, we got the M2s here coming into the hairpins. It's always a sketchy section. But he makes it out perfectly fine, it looks like, and the BMW with front end damage is going to pit.
That was, I believe, second in class, third in class, Rockefeller Racing Green. Joe Nagy behind the wheel onto pit road. The first of the top three to pit. That should set them up nicely for the end of this one. There comes Thonk off pit road, catches the wall a little bit. They're in third, effectively battling for the win now with WIP Racing. Remember, that's for the lead because they both should be able to make it to the end on fuel.
Yeah, that's going to be the question, though, is WIP going to have to save fuel to make it to the end? So it's, again, more of a strategy game than it is anything. But these cars have put on some good racing, and they've also had some really good strategies here. I really like the strategies most of these cars have went for.
A lot of smart drivers in this series being able to figure out all these strategies on the fly. And somehow they all converge at the end. I don't know how they make it happen, but they do. With the final 30 minutes up on the clock. Have a chat about our final sponsor. There goes the driver around. We'll go back to that in a minute. Razor Racing, second in class, just went for a ride.
Yeah, and is it WIP Racing that took a little hit there, I wonder? Looks like they're going down into some of the turns before we get to the hairpin, if it looks like, because we're going under that section. And they turn in right after here, and it looks like it is WIP Racing.
Oh, wow, a lot of rear brake in that car. Just went around. That's heavy damage on the nose of WIP Racing.
Yeah, that's going to hurt their chances. It also really does mean that the 26 car had a really good shot.
Well, now the 26, the Thonk Racing car, they're ahead. That's it. They're ahead now. That is a massive change. Rockefeller Racing Green is now getting a black flag. Probably some sort of pitting violation for the 237. They are currently last in the M2 class. Let's try that again. Rookie Racing. Ready to hit the track? Rookie Racing Rentals program is your starting line. Stop dreaming and start driving. We make it easy for new racers to get behind the wheel. To book your rental, contact our team in the description down below in the comment section here on this video. Make sure to give them a look before you log off of YouTube this evening. Right after you finish liking the video, subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification icon so you don't miss a moment of the great racing action here on the channel.
This is where the real racing starts. We got 28 minutes left. You know, this is where people have to push to make it to the win. Especially looking back at Team BRZ and SCEL DTO M1, that gap between them is 10 seconds. Can they make it work? It's going to be a question of how much are they willing to push.
Yeah, if you're T-GOM, just don't do anything you haven't been doing for the last 20 or so minutes. Just let it ride. Float it into the corners. No reason to push at all. Be like 60%. I mean, if you lose 10 seconds on raw pace, some questions maybe to be asked. But at this point, just don't lose it because you hit the wall.
you lose 10 seconds just on pace and not an accident, it becomes a question of what went wrong.
Right.
That shouldn't happen normally.
Right. Yeah, unless you're going on a super save, but I don't see that happening here. As in the final 30 minutes, we have ourselves a battle for the win potentially. Thonk trying to hold on to across WIP Racing. They're second and third right now. We still believe Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue has to pit. They're trying to stretch it out right now so to make that pit stop not hurt quite as much, but they still likely will have to pit for fuel before this thing is over. Thonk, we believe for sure, is okay on fuel. WIP Racing is right on the edge by our calculations. Everyone else in the top 10, maybe Solar might be a little tight as well. Everyone else in the top 10 should be able to get there on fuel to the end of this one.
It's just WIP got unlucky. WIP Racing got really unlucky with that damage on their front end. So their strategy really didn't work because of that. Because if they had pitted before, maybe, if they pitted it a different way, maybe they would have hit it, It's a lot of what ifs. That's all racing is what if. So it really just becomes a question of who got luckiest, pretty much who looked into the crystal ball well enough.
Yeah, the wrong stuff should inherit the lead here in a few moments. When Los Locos pit before the end of this race, the wrong stuff just pit 2 laps ago. They should get that lead back and with a commanding margin over the rest of the pack. There is the gap right now without the pit stop. With the pit stop, of course, it will be something in the range of about a minute or so to gap back to the rest of the field. They are well out in front right now. Once this thing shakes out the way it looks like it will. T-GOM up by about 8 seconds over Team BRZ. So the gap is dropping, although it's not dropping very quickly. Last time by about 7/10 of a second.
If you're watching it drop that quickly, we have 25 minutes left. They can catch them. It's just going to be mistakes and making that pace last.
Now working through traffic will be vital for them. Getting worked over as traffic because they probably won't be catching anyone slower than them. They are the slowest class cars. Texas Speed Sim Blue under fire from Thonk by Bud. Look to the outside here for the multicolored car. Nothing doing. Tucked back in line. Whip chases behind him.
As I said, this works out really well for WIP Racing. You're just hoping that Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue, because they're going to have to pit more than likely, holds up that 26 car just enough for you to catch them.
I think the bigger concern is going to be the lap traffic in the form of the wrong stuff and Los Locos. Remember, Los Locos has been a thorn in the side of GT4s all night.
Yeah, and it's always this hairpin that messes up with the M2s and the GT4s. So if they make it out of this, they're probably going to be fine, but they made it out just fine. But the question is do they catch another M2 in that hairpin? That hairpin always does not work.
Yeah, Whip with the nose damage, a little slower on the straightaways than they were before, kind of neutering the advantage they had previously. This Texas Speed Sim Blue with an aggressive move around the wrong stuff. That's going to pin Thonk in a weird spot behind the slower class car. Not going to make a move there. That's pretty aggressive. It's going to have to be out of 4, losing a lot of time here.
It's allowing WIP Racing to catch up, and that's going to really work for them.
This is the move. Thonk's got to pass right here, and they will. Now Whip has to make the move. In the next corner, they cannot let Thonk get away another lap.
Oh, and that messed them up. They caught it in a really awkward spot. They should be able to catch them through here and pass them, though. That actually worked out better for WIP than it did.
Now they have to get him here, and they will easily clear him into the braking zone before they even apply the brake pedal. Next car to pass is Los Locos. That's the leader of the M2s, at least for the moment, into the hairpin. And down to pit road will make it very easy for your top 3 to get around and get by. It also had to lead back over the wrong stuff.
Texas Sim Blue. Looking at Texas Sim Racing Blue, it did slow them down a little bit, coming through the hairpin behind the M2 because the M2 just doesn't have to drive off. So you can throw a blanket, like I said before, you can throw a blanket over the top 3 right now. And I would say, I mean, looking here, this has really worked out for WIP, but it's also really worked out for Texas Sim Racing Blue, Speed Racing Blue, because they haven't been running as quick. They may be able to save a little bit of fuel. It may make their pit stop quicker, and depending on strategy, that may work out for them.
Yeah, they're at least back in touch. That's what they needed to have a shot at it, because again, it's a heads-up race right now. Thonk and WIP Racing. That's the battle for the win at this moment. Texas Speed Sim Blue, we again very confident they cannot make it to the end on fuel. If they can, it would be absolutely a masterclass in making speed and saving fuel at the same time. It's the likes that we just haven't seen this season. As we got a GR86 caught up.
That's gonna
in front of Whip.
That didn't slow them down too much, but it did slow them down.
Yeah, the exit got compromised. As Thonk still applying the pressure. Doesn't really have to go for the pass, but just can't allow him to lose time is kind of the battle you're facing right now.
Yeah, because it does seem like Texas Speed Racing Blue does not have the pace that Thonk does, and WIP has more pace than Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue as well, right. So it's more of the one car slowing them down.
The battle on the racetrack. Rockefeller Racing Purple still leading the AB class under fire from the E-Brake boys. 17 seconds back to Eclipse Soldier. That would be second in the AB class. Big Fast Club Racing is in the 3rd spot in the AB class. Back in 8th position.
I'm going to say that 129 Rockefeller Racing Purple, I've said it a few times, is impressive. Impressing me a lot because as an AM driver, you don't expect them to be in the top 5.
Having a pretty solid run. I've seen a lot of fast GT4 cars. The pro drivers have issues. Weenie Hut Racing, of course, with their problems. SRN Sports Black having issues. Texas Speed Sim Racing White usually is a competitor kind of around that top 5 in the pro class. They have issues early. So those 3, of course, not having good days at all. We still have that battle. E-Brake boys might get around them here. Yes, they will. E-Brake boys to 5th. Rockefeller Racing Purple back to 6th position as they work through the marble-filled section down there in the hairpin. Turn number 11.
You can see the tires shredded on this track, the marbles there. And it looks like this battle is heating up here.
Yeah, Thonk's got to go here. Contact. There goes Texas Speed Sim Blue. They're all part of it.
Doesn't look like WIP made contact, but that also works out for WIP because now Thonk has some damage as well.
It's minimal if there is any. It was a pretty slow speed part of the racetrack. We'll go back on a replay. They got him, though, nonetheless. WIP with a compromised entry into the hairpin. Yeah, Thonk just made an aggressive move. That corner was just not going to work. It was a very low percentage move, but they felt they had to make it. They couldn't wait another set of corners. And into the door of the one, into the wall, the one goes.
Yeah, and it looks like they're driving away from WIP Racing because of that damage they have. But it just depends. It's a straight line speed that's compromised with that Mustang, and the Mustang had better straight line speed. That was its advantage. So now it's kind of messed up the in general balance of that car.
The gap is a second and growing ever so slightly. Oh, there goes a car missing the corner. La Media Racing Academy promo for you right there. You saw that one flash across your screen. Always nice when cars do the work for us when it comes to sponsorship. That's always nice.
You gotta love it when it just kind of works out. You can see the sponsors. Looking at this, it doesn't look like WIP has the pace to catch that 26 car, the Thonk. The Thonk is just gaining more and more distance between them.
Texas Speed Sim Blue on pit road. You can see the left side, right side of your screen. Sorry, they were already in the pit box. Got enough fuel to make it to the end now with the fast repair potentially. Yes, I think they did take it. Their second fast repair. So they have made their bed, fighting for a top 10 now. For the one who was at one point the fastest car here. Strategy got on the wrong side of it, and then of course with the damage from that spin, find themselves well off the pace of the lead. Thonk is pulling away now. It's 1.6 seconds and growing.
Yeah, that kind of settled that made the grade for WIP racing. Unless Thonk catches lap traffic, slows him down rapidly, and WIP racing catch up much quicker, it's almost sealed the deal.
The Break Fast Club Racing trying to make a move on Eclipse Solar. This would be for, oh, they got contact. There goes, that's the second time we've seen that car go around off the back bumper of Solar. That would have been for second in class. That's going to move Break Fast down to fourth in class.
And
how about fifth in class now?
These cars are getting more and more and more aggressive with these moves. We're seeing a lot more contact now than we have.
Now 15 minutes to go, and we're starting to see drivers give it all they got. Down to turn number 1. Croc within a few tenths of middle of the pack endurance.
And it did look like one of the cars absolutely missed the corner there.
Might have been Eclipse Solar.
It was, I think. It was that car. They just didn't make the corner out.
Pretty heavy damage on the front after that contact. Oh, yeah, they missed turn 1. Damage got heavier.
Yeah, and that kind of allows that the car that they spun a little bit to catch up a little bit more. Well, they rather didn't spin it, but they got spun on them.
I think another thing happened here. I think they might have caught a wall. And they got through the fountain section fine, but that car's having trouble driving now.
Yeah, that's a problematic situation for Eclipse. And looking behind them, you can see the Porsche that was trying to pass them earlier.
Yeah, Break Fast Racing Club. They're in the picture now. Though the battle is no longer for second in class. Texas Speed Sim Blue with the meatball flag. Uh-oh, that car's up and over.
That's watch that happen.
That's not supposed to happen.
I don't think they.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened there. Well, we'll look at it here in a sec, but Gear 5 has just had an abysmal... Yeah, they just full throttled into the corner. They gave up.
Yeah, I was going to say, they did not break. I just watched the headlights go past.
They just sailed into the corner. Yeah, that was no attempt to make that corner. Let's see what triggered this. I think just the 101 just, missed the corner, kind of caught him in a weird spot, and that killed the car for the 1. Just, it's been a kind of a rough day for the Gear 5 guys, and frustrates frustrates the Texas Speed Sim guys who, again, they were fast at times in this race, but just strategy was on the wrong side of it. They got in trouble with damage, and it's just continuing to spiral out of control for them.
It was more luck for them. They had the pace, they had the skill. Just luck.
But I mean, in this situation, you put yourself in the situations to have good or bad luck. I mean, you were one of the few drivers to flip the strategy and try and not pit during the caution, have to work through it, under green, and you got caught up in an accident that didn't work out for you. You couldn't make it to the end on fuel. You had to try different things, and you put yourself in that situation. I mean, you can call it luck, but really it's just preparation and planning that just didn't go your way. As Eclipse Solar back on pit road.
Yeah, and going to what you said, There's two things in racing that matter most: luck and skill. Somebody has either one. If you have either one of them, you have a chance at winning. That's my personal opinion. And look at that 26 car. That gap between them and WIP Racing is almost untouchable now.
Yeah,
now ask me the question to that.
It's almost 4 seconds. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say now it's the question of the 42 pitch them. Does WIP Racing make a mistake? And that's really what's going to make that difference for that class, because the lead is it's kind of like a half-wrapped gift box. You know, it's almost there.
And Alpha Trout's almost 10 seconds behind as well, so it's really not particularly close for podium either. Closest battle on the racetrack is right here, 0.3 of a second, middle of the pack endurance, holding off Croc. That's for second in the M2s. The wrong stuff is so far ahead, they might as well be running on a different racetrack.
Yeah, that's a 30-second lead is crazy. And looking at the GR86s, there's only one car that can really defeat. The rest are laps down. Looking at that car, it looks like they have a good chance of making this run work down through here.
They're catching a slower car. That is Rockefeller Racing Green. Maybe they can get a bit of a pick situation here with 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and Croc's are in a really good race as well. It's another one of those drivers that's working really well. But you gotta feel for that GT4 car behind all three of these M2s battling for position. The lead of their class, there's a GT4 car.
Yeah, break fast. Still trying to get around these guys. That would still put them in a spot where they need one more spot. Oh, there's contact. 3 wide for a moment as they muscle the Rockefeller Racing Green car of Joe Nagy out of the way.
Ooh, 2 wide through that corner usually doesn't work. They made it work. They kept it going.
Very close to seeing Croc stuffed in the tire barrier.
Yeah, and you can't, most of this track you can't go 2 wide into any corner. There's a few corners you can, but most you just can't. Ooh, Croc here trying to, I don't think they're going to make a move through the hairpin, but they may set up a pass to try and make it a little bit wider, make a little more momentum, but they get pushed a little bit to the side.
Yeah, not really sure why Rockefeller Racing Green put the bumper to Croc there. That really hurt the exit for Croc. Now have to rely solely on the draft instead of just positive momentum from corner exit. This race is far from over, though, for the second spot in class. Back down to the 86. We'll take a break away from this one for a moment. SCEL T-GOM still leads the way. Team BRZ is not too far back, though, on the same straightaway. 2 seconds is the gap. Razor Racing a lap behind. So drivers who were ahead by a minute before the comp yellow find themselves fighting for third at this point in the race.
Yeah, the M2s have put on some really good racing here so far at this track. I think the M2s are really well suited for it, for this track, particularly the top corners and the less straight-a-line speed. Because take a look at the M2s racing at Charlotte Roval or something of the sort, like Daytona road course. They don't have that straight-line speed, but they have really good cornering speed, which makes it a really interesting battle to watch these cars.
Having great battles throughout this race, all 3 classes, between classes. 0.3 the difference between middle of the pack Racing Endurance and Croc in the closing stages. Really the only battle being contested on the racetrack. The other one, Sunday GT Turtles and Smooth Operators. Sorry, the Locos and GT Turtles. That's for 4th within a second of each other. Oh, issues for your class leader. Got stuck in traffic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. That gap is rapidly shrinking between them and BRZ.
BRZ's got to clear Razor Racing and in a hurry. That's really the car holding them up. Here comes Whip Racing. Still fading. Down to 4.6 seconds behind your overall lead.
This this race has gotten a little bit more interesting now for the Generating 6 battle, particularly. It's gotten more interesting because of some of the slack traffic kind of slowing down SCEL, TGM, OM, and all that Team BRZ.
You can see the lead. It's that blue car with the green accents. It's your class leader.
Yeah, they just have to get past Racer Racing in a hurry, like you said. It's just, if they don't make it past
there it is.
Quickly, they aren't going to do anything.
I thought they just hit the Intimidator button, got him a little bit out of shape into the corner. Maybe made him look in the mirror a little bit, but trying to get the good exit off the corner. This might be it here. This is going to have to be the move here. You have to go now. You only got 6.5 minutes left. You cannot waste a single corner. Deep dive. It's going to stick. No more buffer for the lead.
It looks like Razor Racing got out of the way when they saw they were too wide and just gave it to them. Like, you know, they're battling for the lead. Can't do much for that. Really don't want to be the reason the person battling in one of the closer battles on the track gets taken out.
Alpha Trout had an issue. Fall back in the clutches of the e-brake boys. That would be for third in the GT Pro class.
I'm looking at particularly the gap. It looks like Rockefeller Racing Purple, if they don't make anything major, has secured themselves top 5 finish. Because if you look back at the car behind them, they're about 20-ish seconds back.
Right.
So that's a battle. That's something impressive for an AM driver. And another thing to mention is the next AM driver back is about. It's actually the car behind them.
Right. Same car.
Yeah, it's the same car as behind them. So it's about 20 seconds back. That's a pretty big lead for an in-class battle.
Don't look now. Battle for the lead, the JR86s. It is this close.
Looks like a good exit for Team BRZ. Let's see if they can make the pass.
Yeah, T-Gom on 23-lap older tires here. This move might just be like clockwork with 5 minutes left. BRZ to the bottom. Into the braking zone, preferred line. Not quite clear. They're still there on the outside. No. Now BRZ clears. T-Gom back to second in class.
They got a good corner exit for that, for going down the large straightaway into turn 1. Ooh, contact!
The Los Locos are in the wall. No meatball.
Yeah, that puts them back in the clutch and smooth up the rails. And it just reminded me of a little bit of I think it's an F1 clip. You know what I mean?
Back up at the front of the field. Thonk up by 6.7 seconds. Well in hand for WIP Racing's Francois Schenck. The wrong stuff with 35 seconds over middle of the pack endurance. That battle still contested for second as they work behind SRN Esports Gold. It's middle of the pack endurance trying to hold off Croc. So far so good, but still time remaining. Team BRZ, we just saw them get that spot away from SCEL. T-Gom 1. Razor Racing 1 lap behind in third, 45 seconds ahead of Baltimore Racing. They have essentially secured third spot so long as they finish the race with 3.5 minutes left. Can anyone gain a spot? Will anyone lose a spot here in the final moments?
Looking at these battles, it's only one that we really have to look at is the one we're watching right now. That's going to be the battle that's going to be contested for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, Croc doing everything they can. They're pushing the heck out of this car. Scraping up the walls, jumping over curbs. You can see the position in front of you. That is second in class. A few extra points go along with it. But, I mean, the wrong stuff has been so good all season, I don't think it particularly matters the points for second because the wrong stuff finishing first again today should the final 2 minute and 40 seconds hold the way we expect it to.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something interesting, is the car with the fastest lap is no longer on the track. That's the crazy part to me. The fastest car we saw was...
SCEL Esports Black, right?
Yes, it was. And nobody's contested that lap. I mean, that was a really fast lap. And they're already out. It's just either poor decisions, luck, just poor predictability. Like, you know, they're not predicting
right.
They should do better or everything.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you made a bold prediction that every driver is going to use the faster pair. You are going to come, it looks like, one away from that prediction. The only driver to not use a faster pair, well, guess what? It's the leader of the race.
Ooh, I was close there. I mean, I had to figure this was going to be a very contact-heavy race. Intentionally.
Somebody lost part of their nose. Break Fast Racing Club in the final moments, I believe, has an issue.
Car in front of them also is missing their nose.
Yeah, I see that. I can't tell who that is. That's not Beaver Moose. North Sport is North Sport. Go back and see North. I think North Sport's actually had the issue. Just happened to be around the Break Fast car. Oh, Break Fast had the issue too. They did spin.
And then they hit him. That's a little bit of a rough situation because we only have 1 minute left. Clicking out now. We have 1 minute left.
And they have to pit. North Sports should be able to keep their 7th finishing position. Yeah, tough spot to have that issue. Thonk Esports is just thinking, get through traffic cleanly. 8.5 seconds in the bank. No reason to do anything rash. As they may be taking the white flag this time by, potentially next time by. White flag is a waving.
Yes, it is, and this is going to be the most important lap these drivers have made all day. Because at the end of the day, being third at the beginning doesn't matter if you don't finish high on the tap. Because only the last lap pays the points.
Into the fountain section for the final time tonight. Cleanly navigated into turn number 4. A little short shoot to turn 5. White flag is officially upon us. Through 5 cleanly. Down the straightaway to the sweeping 6th. Croc got around middle of the pack endurance.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big difference because this is the last lap. If he can hold it down,
Gutsy move. And right behind him is the leader overall.
Yeah, so we get to watch both battles at the same time. Watch the leader get to cross the line. Well, as possibly see Croc either defend or not.
Down into turn number 9. Cleanly navigated. Into the sweeper of 10. There goes driver out of the way. Doesn't want any of that smoke. Into the final corner. And off of the hairpin. Turn number 11 for the final time today. Thonk Esports, Motorsports, Sim Sports Racing, powered by Bud, is going to win. Here in the SCEL, they will take the win in Long Beach.
Man, that's a heck of a mouthful for that name. Man, was that a good race from them. Strategy worked out. And they didn't use any faster pairs, so they kept it clean, too. Like we mentioned at the top, you know, it's a survival race. Not as much of a speed race here because this track is so hard.
Class leaders, The Wrong Stuff and Team BRZ, both right together. There they are on the screen. They should cross the line about the same time to win their respective classes. Team BRZ in the GR86 will cross the line first, it looks like. The purple car going to win a race here in Long Beach. Congratulations to them, as well as The Wrong Stuff doing another great effort here at Long Beach. They will win another time this season and extend their points lead. Just waiting on a few drivers yet to finish. Breakfast Club Racing, SCEL Esports Gold. I believe they are the last drivers to cross the finish line, and then we will be official here in Long Beach.
And the points lead The Wrong Stuff has is crazy. Just continually winning, continually being consistent, continually just delivering when they need to.
Now let's get down to our results. This time we'll start off with the GT4s. Thonk Esports, Motorsports, SimSports Racing, powered by Bud, will get this one done here today. WIP Racing, Francois Schenk finishes second, 11 seconds back. Alpha Trout Challenge in the third spot. That will be your podium. E-Brake Boys in fourth. Rockefeller Racing Purple, the winner in the AM class, finishing fifth overall. Big Promble, second in the AM class, sixth overall. Justin Kidd, Royalty Racing, will finish podium in the AM class, seventh overall. Breakfast Racing Club in eighth. Kyle Bassett in SRN Esports Gold finishes ninth. Your top 10 belongs to Eclipse Racing Esports. Solar Davis Motorsports finished 11th in class. Beaver Moose in 12th. Matt Best in the Texas Speed Sim Racing Blue Car will finish 13th in class. Gear 5 and 14th. Weenie Hut in the 15th spot. SRN Esports Black in 16th. The Texas Speed Sim Racing White, not a great day for them. 17th in class after this one. Angel with the M2s.
Going to the M2s, we got Michael Brooks 10, the wrong stuff, extending his lead as the leader of the BMW M2. We got Justin Bragan in that 271 is the middle of the pack racing endurance for second in class. Damon Mitchell with Crop is third in class, finishing out the podium. We got Jason Landry in the Sunday GT Turtles in fourth for this class. Patrick Mason in the Los Locos in the 208 for fifth. James Cochrane in the Smooth Operators for the 222 car is finishing sixth. Maxwell Waite is North Sports Racing in the 203, finishes seventh. Joe Nagy in that 237 for Rockefeller Racing Green, finishing eighth.
And finally, your GR86 class here tonight. Small field, only 6 drivers. Team BRZ gets the win by just under 3 seconds. Apologies for over SCEL. T-GOM 1 happened in the last 5 minutes of this race. Razor Racing finishes a lap down. They will finish in third. Baltimore in the 4th spot. Steady State Speedworks not electing to finish this race, and Hale Satin did not make it very far in this one. They will finish in the 6th position in that class. Well, let's interview some drivers, shall we, as we get down to the finish of this show. Let's catch up with our AM winner, Rockefeller Racing Purple. You are standing alongside. Angels caught up with your AM winner.
Ilya, you got a copy?
Yes, how you guys doing?
Pretty good. How did that racetrack feel? As general, this was a really rough track, though.
It's a rough track, especially when the heat kicks in and the tire, as depending on how you take tires and what you want to do, especially towards those shorter ones at the end, it's definitely tough, especially as the heat goes up, but it's a fun track. And yeah, it was a good race. Some incidents early, which we probably have to look at, but it was tough. It was close racing.
You've always been one of my picks for the AM class. Like, looking out, I tend to look out for you because I've seen how you did at Virginia, I think last year. And it was more of a, how do you feel after doing as well as you did? I mean, being an AM driver, finishing in the top 5, gotta be feeling pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good. My partner Adam wasn't able to race. He was though on the mic and watching some of the when incidents happened to help. But running the whole thing was not something I was planning going into this race. We usually try to team up unless someone can't make it. But no, it feels really good, really consistent. I'm actually running a Long Beach in a GT3 on Monday, another race. So I've had a lot of Long Beach this past week. So prepping for this just in 2 different types of cars.
Is there anybody you wish to thank that helped you, get here or anything like that?
Yeah, well, first of all, you guys have done a great job. Thank you guys first, and Jason Landry for putting this on, and the whole, SR group. The Rockefeller Racing team in general. I mean, Adam's been a big pusher. There's other guys that weren't able to make it. Milan's, John's, a couple other guys that we race with in another league also, but it's just the camaraderie of the Rockefeller Racing team has always been really good for years, and we do it for fun, but we also do it to be very competitive, so it's always a blast.
And competitive you were. Is there anything else you wish to say before we try to interview the next person?
Yeah, just thank you guys, and look forward to the next race, and good race with everybody. And it's a tight with the AM group going down to the last race. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Congrats on the win in AM.
Thanks.
All right. Let's go grab our next interview. That's going to be Thonk by Bud, your overall winner. Tyler, Morgan up the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, how about you, Mr. Overall Race Winner? And it was quite an effort for you today. It looked like it was going to be a race between you and WIP Racing. After the pit stop, you cycled out right directly behind them. Matt Best and that Texas Speed Sim Blue team, pretty confident they were going to be able to make it on fuel. What was the thought when you came out right behind them? Were you thinking, I got one car to pass, and then we just drive away?
Yeah, I kind of assumed that Matt would need to pit again, either that or he was an absolute fuel wizard and deserved the win hands down. But yeah, and I assumed that he was going to try to back me up a little bit into the car behind, and so I was trying to play it smart through that whole sequence there. You know, three cars in kind of close contention for the lead. You're always looking for every opportunity, and you know, obviously the little tap in the corner after the fountain's just not how you want stuff to go down. But you know, I knew I had pace. I was just trying to kind of rely on just keeping it clean and letting those opportunities come. And you know, ultimately still got the race result out of it. But yeah, it's happy, sad. You know.
Yeah, when you have one of those issues, one of those incidents where you make contact with someone intentionally or otherwise, or accidentally, or whatever the case was. Obviously, you didn't mean to run into him. I'm not saying you did. How hard is it when you know you have the WIP guy right behind you? Like he's on the tire tracks, and you have to pass the slower car in front of you. How hard is it as a driver to just kind of rein yourself in and say, maybe 4 is not the spot. Let's try and get him in 5, or we got to get it done in 4. How hard is it to balance that behind the wheel in the moment?
Yeah, I mean it's all a mental game, especially here at Long Beach. You know, this track is very technical and it punishes you for the tiniest of mistakes and makes it very hard to get around the cars in front of you. And so, you know, having a steady head and just being able to do your thing and turn consistent laps is very very difficult, especially when you have an incident, whether you're feeling emotional because you're angry about it, or you're feeling emotional because you're upset at yourself or upset at the other guy. You know, you really just got to kind of focus and put that out of your head, and you know, let those autopilot laps start ticking over. You're 2 hours into an endurance race. You know your way around this track. You just kind of got to rely on your reflexes and, you know, turn your brain off. Don't think so much.
And speaking of autopilot, this should put you even more firmly at the top of the points heap. It's been a great season for you guys as you head down to the final race in Road Atlanta in about a month's time. What's it going to take for you to bring home the championship in the SCEL series by simracingnation.com?
Yeah, just keep doing what we've been doing. Just keep turning consistent results. I think I've managed to get on the podium just about every round, if I remember right. So yeah, just keeping it clean, keeping my nose out of trouble, and doing what we've been doing all season. Hopefully, it goes our way.
And like all season, who do you want to thank? Who do you want to shout out for another excellent run, this time in Long Beach?
Yeah, shout out to the beer league guys and to the rest of the Thonk teams and Huge Ass. It was a sparse crowd tonight from our side, but you know, we're hopefully we'll show up in force for the final round. And big thank you to you guys on the broadcast team and to everybody that puts this league on. It's been a great season. We're having a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, glad to have you. Glad to be a part of it. And congratulations here on the win in Long Beach.
Thank you.
That is your overall winner. Thonk Esports, Motorsports, Sim Sports Racing, powered by Bud. Now let's have a chat with our GR86 class winner. Angel has caught up with Team BRZ.
This is for the GR86 lead, and how are you feeling after that? The GR86s didn't seem to handle very well at all on this track.
No, those front tires gave away real quick, but as long as you could handle it and brake a little bit early, it was fine. But I just want to say, you know, that Purple Warrior 443 was running like a top all day, and I want to thank Scion for making such a great BRZ. And thanks for SRN for holding all this together. Thanks for Jason putting this all together. I want to shout out to my boys at the Beer League for making me what I am today.
Well, I have a question about those GR86s. It looked like you all were having a lot of trouble down at the hairpin. Is that where the race seemed to be lost and won in these cars?
Yeah, so if you could carry any speed out of it, you were golden, but it wanted to just stop. And so if you could carry any speed into going and getting that outside line right away, I was that's the only place that I was being able to make up any time on some of the other guys. I just feel like I was able to exit just a little bit better.
Yeah, and you already did your thanks, but I'm going to ask: is there anybody different you wish to thank?
No, honestly, all the guys here are awesome, and it's been thankful for all that. The other guys that I race with here over at Beer League, Agostino, and some of the other guys, it's been just awesome finding these leagues, and it's been great for doing this. So thanks, guys.
Congratulations to you on your win in GR86, and good luck next week or next month, Road Atlanta.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
That is your GR86 winner, Team BRZ. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Our last interview of the event here, middle of the pack racing endurance, second overall, second in the M2 class. Angel has caught up with that driver.
Hello, do you got a copy?
Hello.
Well, you were second overall in the M2s, and
Yes.
second in the M2s, rather, not overall. But how the M2s seem to be one of the most close racing cars at this track. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's definitely close racing. I think if you look at the times overall, it was very, very close and a very tight track, making it very hard to overcome or overtake. Sometimes you just got to have a good line going into a turn to make it on the straights, or kind of use your pit stops as a strategy saver right there. But I felt pretty good overall. It was a tough race, that's for sure. If you look at my car throughout the race, it was definitely beat up a bit. Second overall for now. Let's see what the stewards have to say about some of the things that went on. But either way, happy with the pace that I presented during the race, and we'll take it from there, I guess.
What helped you get this position? What was the most crucial part of this race for you?
I think I actually got damage early on. I think maybe the first 20 laps or so, which required me to go in and repair. After I repaired, I actually just got on my pace and started setting lap times, which were a little quicker than the guys ahead. So I think I made up some grounds through there, just through open track.
And last question here, but it is more of one about your personal, who do you wish to thank? Who's helped you get here?
Ooh, well, that would have to be for most of this season. It was my girlfriend. Just let me get some time in here to get some practice laps and try to nail down the lap times as best as I could.
You always got to love it when you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend that lets you do that.
Absolutely.
Congrats on your P2 finish in the BMW M2. Good luck
Thank you very much.
month at Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta, that's a tough one.
It will be.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right, and that will about do it for us here tonight. Fun one here from Long Beach. The SCEL Sport Car Endurance League put on quite a show here in Southern California, presented to you by SimRacingNation.com and all the other host of sponsors we've seen throughout the evening. Let's have a look ahead. Road Atlanta, May 1st, will end this season. Someone's going to win a championship in all 4 series. Who's it going to be? Make sure you tune in about a month's time to figure out that driver, or those drivers, I should say. But for everyone at V-Speed who makes this thing possible, everyone at SCEL, Jason Landry, everyone at SimRacingNation.com, Strovic, and everyone else over there. I've been Morgan Cook for V-Speed. Angel Melton beside me in the booth tonight. Appreciate her stepping up to commentate this one with JP being away. And big shout out to Dougie Beard for providing us cameras as always. Make sure you keep it locked.
Been a blast.
It has been, yeah. Any final thoughts while we got you up here?
No, it's been a blast. Thank you all for having me, and just all you all in YouTube and everything. Wouldn't be possible without you all being here. So, most importantly, thank you all for giving me this opportunity to be here.
I echo that. Very important that you like the video, subscribe to the channel so that we can continue to stay relevant here in the iRacing space. Make sure you don't miss a moment of the racing action right here on V-Speed. But thank you all. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time right here on V-Speed.